Chapter 1640. The divine magic artifact had slashed down with a single slash. The void was shattered, and the laws were destroyed. The power of the greater world was limited, and even a demigod expert had to avoid its edge. It was a critical moment. Su Fong activated all of his Zhen Qi and energy. Wu Small speak. The world tree absorbed Su Fong's Zhen Qi and energy, including the Yang Qi in his Yang meridian. The power of the yin-yang world burst out, sweeping every corner of his body. In a split second, Su Fong transformed into a world of his own. His divine might extended to the outside world, covering 100 zhang of space, forming a world that was independent of the natural world. At this moment of life and death, Su Fong's potential was completely stimulated. At this time, the power of the world burst out, exceeding the limit that Su Fong could display before, reaching a new height. This realm was the kind of realm that Su Fong reached with the help of Bodhi Tihu incense. He had been striving to reach this realm, but he had never reached it. TSK. The demonic blade slashed the world created by Su Fong's self, and its speed suddenly slowed down. 100 zhang, 80 zhang, 50 zhang qi. The world created by Su Fong's self collided with the demonic blade. The world was torn apart, and the power and laws were broken layer by layer. The power of the demonic blade was also rapidly consumed, losing its initial terrifying momentum, and its speed became like a snail, getting slower and slower. APMB 30 zhang. Purple Qi Dharma Spirit, suppress. Su Fong activated the Purple Qi magic spirit, and the mysterious purple qi merged with the power of the world. The amazing power of controlling magic weapons made the demonic blade tremble and buzz, as if it had encountered something that made it most afraid, and it no longer had the monstrous aura it had just now. Whoosh! The original spirit of the purple qi magic spirit was released by Su Fong. With a flash of purple light, it enveloped the demonic blade. A mature purple Qi law spirit could even devour the 9 netherworld god Devil Nail, a divine level magic tools artifact spirit. The Devil Saber activated by the Lord of the Devil Realm was at the same level as the 9 netherworld god Devil Nail. Moreover, the purple Qi law spirit was devouring the weapon spirits of countless Dao tools, especially the great pregnant purple Qi contained in the extinguishing soil. How could it escape the suppression of the purple Qi law spirit? APMB ROAR waves of demonic roars filled with fear came from the demonic saber as it struggled to break free from the devouring of the purple Qi Dharma spirit. However, it was all in vain. The last ball of dark demonic light was forcibly extracted from the demonic blade by the original spirit of the purple cloud law spirit. The purple Qi Dharma spirit took the tool spirit and the devil blade back into the purple Qi space in the depths of Su Fong's body. The artifact spirit was shackled in the purple space by the purple Qi law spirit, while the demonic blade was taken into the red space by Su Fong's origin sacred mirror. After doing all this, Su Fong seemed to collapse. This time, he used the power of the world, and the consumption of his true Qi and strength almost exceeded the limit that Su Fong could bear. It was even difficult to maintain the state of flying. He staggered and fell to the ground. Even the divine level magic tool of this lord can be suppressed. The Lord of the Devil Realm's blow, which was enough to seriously injure or even kill a demigod level powerhouse, was actually defended by Su Fong. Moreover, the demonic blade was taken away instead. Even the god from the heavens want to do this. It is impossible. The shock and surprise in the heart of the Lord of the Devil Realm can be imagined. Su Fong, your magical power is simply against the heavens. At this time, you are already an arrow at the end of its flight. Let's see how you escape from the hands of this lord. At all costs, kill Su Fong. The voice of the Lord of the Devil Realm, full of anger and killing intent, reverberated, and the world shook violently. Only then did the devils in the devil camp wake up from the intense shock, and one after another rushed toward Su Fong. Su Fong, give me your life. A bone devil, equivalent to the high-level Dao realm, saw that Su Fong was already an arrow at the end of its flight and could be suppressed by raising its hand. It couldn't help but be overjoyed. Its face was full of grin, and its eyes were full of excitement and greed. As long as it killed Su Fong, it would make a great contribution to the devil race. This bone devil was naturally ecstatic. Go to hell. The bone devil came close to Su Fong. Su Fong seemed to have completely lost the ability to resist. He neither escaped nor released his magical power to resist. The bone devil stretched out its right hand, and its right arm suddenly expanded. Its white bone claws directly grabbed Su Fong's chest with a terrifying momentum that could crush everything. It actually intended to crush Su Fong's heart with one claw. Lifebound state. Su Fong punched out. Although Su Fong himself had lost his strength, he still had 1,000 experts and 100,000 elite subordinates. Xianhuang's Six Paths Pagoda could fuse the power of all his subordinates and then penetrate into Su Fong's body. Ka. The bone devil's bone claws shattered bit by bit, and then Su Fong's powerful and domineering punch smashed its chest, and its body was sent flying. Su Fong, who seemed to be an arrow at the end of its flight, actually still had the terrifying power to suppress a high-level Dao realm expert with a single punch. This once again shocked many of the Devil Clan cultivators, and the Tide-like army actually stopped abruptly. Mu Xingfeng, it's your turn. Shua. Su Fong released Mu Xingfeng, Undead Lord, and the newly recruited 1,000 experts and 100,000 elite subordinates to form a defense around Su Fong, tightly protecting Su Fong. Su Fong staggered and actually couldn't stand steadily. He sat on the ground and gasped for breath. The demon army surged from all directions. Su Fong's 100,000 subordinates seemed so insignificant in the Tide-like demon army. They could be swallowed up at any time. Mu Xingfeng took the lead in killing. This arrogant, peerless genius of the macro world forgot everything at this time. With a monstrous, murderous intent, he fought with the demon army and did not retreat. Su Fong's newly recruited 1,000 experts and 100,000 elite subordinates risked their lives to fight against the demon army, which was thousands of times larger than them. They formed a defense line and stood firm. What surprised and shocked Su Fong was that the newly recruited 1,000 experts, who he thought would not be loyal in a short time, were not afraid of death at all, as if they were crazy. Boom. A crack was torn in the defense, and the demon army swarmed in. Su Fong, although it hasn't been long since I became your subordinate, it has made me feel extremely fortunate. An old middle stage Tao master laughed and said to Su Fong. Then he pounced on Su Fong. His body and energy exploded, sweeping away all the devils who had broken through the defense. Tragic scenes continued to appear one after another. In order to protect Su Fong, these subordinates have forgotten their lives and did not hesitate to blow themselves up and perish together with the demon army. Su Fong's eyes were moist. At this time, a stone belt sprang out from a crack in the stone and then turned into Wuling Goblin. The divine light in Su Fong's eyes changed instantly, and he shouted coldly, "Wuling Goblin, you dare to disobey my order?" Who? Wuling Goblin opened his mouth and spat out the Jinlong realm. Bai Ling and Su Fong's doppelganger flew out of the Jinlong realm. Brother, don't blame Wuling Goblin. I forced your doppelganger and ordered Wuling Goblin to return. You underestimate me too much. How can I watch you face when one alone? Bai Ling explained for a while, and then activated the Chaos Ring to shake back a demon venerable who was not far from Su Fong. His figure drew a strange arc and fought with the demon venerable. Su Fong's doppelganger merged with his body. Su Fong, who was originally extremely weak, recovered a little in an instant. Although he was far from his peak state, only 1/10 of his strength, he was no longer as weak as before. Sensing that Su Fong had recovered a lot, and seeing Su Fong's valiant subordinates, the Lord of the Devil Realm set off a storm in his heart. In the world of immortal Tao, there is such a peerless figure. If we don't kill him, where will the devil race have a foothold in the big world in the future? The Lord of the Devil Realm's deep eyes flashed a decisive look. Kill him. The lord of the devil realm looked at the barbarian god, demon venerable, and coldly shouted at the 6 demon god war slaves. Then he moved to the sky above Su Fong and opened his mouth to spit out a devil light. The devil light wrapped a jade seal, which looked as big as Su Fong's. Xianli Huang Ar Lai? Also, Arli Huang, Arli Huang, Arli, 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 the devil race's divine weapon, and also the devil race's royal seal. Big, Xian, Arli, in the hands of Su Fong. Big, Xian, also, Arli, 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 Li, 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 APME big, Xianli, Li, Li, you call Chu Ling Hui Yu Fei Yu Kong Shao. Li, 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 jumping on the wrong sedan chair. Li, 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 Arli, Li, Li, from Su Fong. The lord of the devil realm felt a great threat. At this time, Su Fong was only at the early stage of the Dao realm, and he was so terrible. If he grew up to the peak of the advanced stage of the Dao realm, who in the big world could compete with him in the future? At that time, not only he, the lord of the devil realm, but the whole devil race would be destroyed in the hands of Su Fong. Therefore, even if the lord of the devil realm had to bear big Xian, Li, 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 miserable, Li, Li, right at this moment, boom, immortal Tianji activated the black and white yin and yang vortex formed by the great way of Tianji, covering the clone of the lord of the devil realm. Tianji yin and yang. All things return to the void. With a cold shout, immortal elder Tianji sent out a shocking hand seal. The black and white yin and yang vortex spun wildly, disintegrating the lord of the devil realm's clone layer by layer, and then the body was swallowed by the black and white yin and yang vortex. Immortal Tianji also paid a heavy price for this. His face became extremely old, and his skin was dry, like an old man with 1 foot in the grave. Seeing that the lord of the devil realm was about to activate big Xian, and I, Li, Li, scarlet face frightening, Zhonghuai, Li, Li, pointing at Si Fu Jian, Zhonghuai, Li, 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 Su Fong, you're able to force me to activate the Great Seal? Xian, Li, 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 the lord of the devil realm decisively flicked out a drop of blood with the aura of the devil god. Big Xianhuai, as if a devil god had been awakened, the terrifying sound of the devil god rose to the sky, and the blood-colored seal was arrogant. Xian, Li, 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 the evil aura with the supreme ruler's aura sealed and shackled thousands of miles of space. For chapters will be updated today to make up for the chapter from the day before yesterday, but I can't update according to the original schedule. Please forgive me. Equals underscore our download address. Mobile reading, bibliographic review. Chapter 1641. Su Fong, this lord is very anxious right now. How should I deal with you? Su Fong asked with a solemn expression. You killed this lord's beloved son and provoked a war between the demon race and the resurrected expert, causing the demon race to fall short of success and suffer a disastrous loss that they have not suffered in thousands of years. If I kill you easily, wouldn't it be too easy for you? How to deal with you really gives this lord a headache. This lord has racked his brains and thought of all the torture methods of the demon race, but it is difficult to think of how to torture you to vent the monstrous anger in this lord's heart. The lord of the demon realm looked down at Su Fong on the ground, like a demon god overlooking all living beings, and laughed wantonly. In addition to incomparable pleasure, there was also incomparable anger and hatred in his laughter. Could it be that my deduction was wrong? This is fate, Su Fong. It is difficult to reverse anything. The lord of the demon realm was a demigod expert. At this time, he ignored the backlash of his own luck and activated the demon race's demon weapon. Not to mention Su Fong, even immortal elder Tianji himself would not be able to escape this calamity, let alone Su Fong, who was at the end of his rope. At this time, immortal elder Tianji was already on the verge of drying up. He could only watch in despair as the Lord of the Demon Realm wiped out the last hope of the immortal Tao. Lord of the Demon Realm, do you really think victory is in your hands? It is not the end yet, but you are laughing so complacently. Isn't it ridiculous? Su Fong suddenly said, a somewhat weak voice full of ridicule. The Lord of the Demon Realm sneered. This lord really can't think of any chance you have to escape from this lord's palm. Escape? I never thought of escaping, but to defeat you or even suppress you, Su Fong said domineeringly. You, an ant-like, lowly cultivator, actually wants to suppress this lord? Ha! The Lord of the Demon Realm seemed to have heard the funniest joke in the world and could not help but laugh out loud. All the demon race cultivators also laughed, full of pleasure and ridicule. Countless people's laughter gathered together, the sound shaking the sky. Suppress all of you. At the next moment, the boss was stunned. The cruel voice of the Lord of the Demon Realm sounded, and then it would be big. Xuanji, in a split second, bloody light soared into the sky. An evil and bizarre aura spread out in all directions. Wherever the bloody light covered, streaks of red light drilled into the bodies of the immortal Tao cultivators. The demon race cultivators, on the other hand, were completely unaffected. Bai Ling, Gue Gue, Mu Xingfeng, and Su Fong's subordinate masters were also in Xian, Muji Ryota, purebreds. Immortal Elder Tianji had burned his life force again and again. He was already an arrow at the end of its flight. Now that he was burning his last bit of life force, how big could he get? Xian, clothes? A palanquin with colorful roses? Wu, Bin, lips? Season break? Tatsumi? Kai Yinyan's cowardly head? Su Fong was even more specially taken care of by the Lord of the Demon Realm. He activated a surging bloody light and condensed a huge blood lotus around Su Fong. Bloody figures rushed to him from all directions. The Lord of the Demon Realm sneered. Su Fong, why don't you defy the heavens again and let this lord see? Boom! The mysterious purple gas mixed with the strong Emperor's aura burst out from Su Fong's body, forming a huge purple gas canopy over his head. A supreme luck that was protected by the heavens and difficult to be touched by any disaster enveloped Su Fong. Xian Xuanja? Xuanja? If he was in his peak state, Su Fong could still resist for a while with the supreme luck released by the Emperor's aura, coupled with the pure yang divine power. Even to Xuanja? Xuanja? However, at this time, Su Fong's strength, true qi, including the power of the world of yin and yang, the purple gas spirit, and the Emperor's aura were severely exhausted. How could he resist the power of the demon realm's demonic artifact? Above the immortal factions camp. This is the will of the heavens. It's difficult to defy the heavens. Elder Crane let out a long sigh. After using his divine ability to force Ming Yin back, he disappeared into the void. Even if a deity were to descend, it would be difficult to change the situation. Elder Crane was already heavily injured, so the only thing he could do was to escape. Ming Yin's strength at this time was about to fall to the Tao realm. How could he spare the energy to chase after old Crane? Looking at Su Fong, Ming Yin gritted his teeth and said with a grim smile, Su Fong, will you also end up like this? Seeing that Su Fong was about to be killed, the immortal faction's last pillar of support suddenly collapsed, and they all fell into despair. In the depths of the demon realm's camp, Demon Venerable Barbaric God burned his demonic chi and life force to fight against the 6 demon god battle slaves with all his might. Although these 6 demon god battle slaves hadn't matured into true demon god battle slaves, their strength was at the peak of the Tao realm. Even Demon Venerable Barbaric God couldn't contend against them and was suppressed. All of a sudden, a demon god battle slave erupted with a completely different aura from before. It was no longer pure demonic chi, but a mixture of immortal and demonic chi. It separated its hands and shot out a large pair of scissors formed from 2 interweaving rays of light. Asterisk crack. Asterisk, one of the demon god battle slaves was caught off guard and had his neck twisted by the Xian Guang scissors. His head flew high into the air, and blood spurted out like a fountain from his severed neck. Who else could this demon god battle slave that suddenly attacked be other than the second primordial spirit? At this moment, he completely displayed the physical strength of an immortal and demon monster. His entire body was filled with a powerful and incomparably vast mixture of immortal and demon chi. His appearance also changed and was almost exactly the same as Su Fong. However, the aura he revealed was completely different. It was cold and sharp, like a monster that only knew how to kill. The remaining 4 demon god battle slaves were all startled by the sudden turn of events. Kill! The second primordial spirit let out a cold voice and activated the yin-yang immortal demon scissors again. A burst of primordial spirit divine might suddenly shot out from his eyes, forming a shocking primordial spirit tsunami that swept towards one of the demon god battle slaves. This demon god battle slave was attacked by the shocking primordial spirit power, and his body trembled. He couldn't use any divine ability, and his right arm was cut off by the yin-yang immortal demon scissors. Boom! Demon venerable barbarian god and the second primordial spirit attacked at the same time, activating the great barbarian demon god palm and killing one of the demon god battle slaves. From the second primordial spirit's sudden attack to the death of 2 demon god battle slaves and the injury of 1, it was just a split second. The demon god war slaves have betrayed us. When the lord of the demon realm saw this scene, there was a bang in his head, like a clap of thunder, and his eyes were full of disbelief. Demon venerable barbarian god betrayed the demon race. At this time, a demon god battle slave that was cultivated with countless efforts and resources suddenly betrayed the demon race. How could the lord of the demon realm not be shocked? Under the shock of his mind, the lord of the demon realm looked at Great? Could be Su Fong? Impossible. This is absolutely impossible. The lord of the demon realm reflexively thought of Su Fong, but he couldn't believe it. Right at this moment, the purple cloud canopy above Su Fong's head shattered with a loud bang. His complexion suddenly became miserable, and his body was on the verge of collapse. Su Fong gritted his teeth and withdrew a talisman with a flip of his hand. It was the talisman that the Ji Hong Immortal Exalt had given to him before Su Fong left the Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect. After it was activated, it could release an extremely formidable divine ability attack. Only now did Su Fong take out his most powerful card. From the beginning to the end, Su Fong had never thought of using the Hun Yuan Sacred Mirror. It was not because of the unpredictable and serious consequences of exposing the mirror, but because even if the mirror was big, it would not be enough. Xian Xiaoyu's peep. Using a rock key to buy a cake and a bridal. Soul. By Shi Bao. Di Jiao 2 lie the objective of the APMB Su Fong is not only to break the Great Wall. Xian. Dead. Lose the reins. Playing tricks. Scrawl. And Su Fong's biggest card was this talisman condensed by the Ji Hong Immortal Exalt. In order to hit the target with one shot, Su Fong had been enduring until now. Taking advantage of the Lord of the Demon Realm's proudest moment, his second primordial spirit suddenly made a move to attract the attention of the Lord of the Demon Realm. Only then did Su Fong show his trump card. Lord of the Demon Realm, don't you want to see how I defy the heavens? Next, I, Su Fong, will let you see what it means to defy the heavens with one hand. Chi. Su Fong crushed the talisman, and a burst of reincarnation power exploded. Big? Xian Man's crotch? Only you, Sun Lan. 4 Seasons Reincarnation Seal. This talisman given by the Ji Hong Immortal Exalt to Su Fong sealed a magical power, which was the 4 Seasons Reincarnation Seal. However, the power of this 4 Seasons Reincarnation Seal was far beyond the strength of the Ji Hong Immortal Exalt, and even exceeded the power limit of the Great Wall. Even a demigod powerhouse would find it difficult to release such a powerful attack. This magical power was personally sealed by the Ji Hong Immortal Exalt's original body. Only the gods of the heavens and the myriad worlds had such amazing magical power and power. A Xian Guang vortex with 4 colors of cyan, red, gold, and black constantly changing, with the divine power of the four seasons reincarnation and the evolution of time, spiraling out and rolling up the Great Wall. Xian big. Xian feeding the previous Shua descending Na. Xian Guang, God-level power, a magical power that only the gods can have. The Lord of the Demon Realm was preparing to activate the second primordial spirit's physical body and the shackle seal in the primordial spirit to suppress the second primordial spirit. Once again, he was shocked by the magical power released by Su Fong, so he quickly activated the Great Wall. Xian, gathering leaks, only Xian Guang. Looking around, chi, big. Xian Guang, Xian Guang, Zhou, Xian, Xian Xinghuan, Xian Guang. The bloody demonic patterns shattered layer by layer, and the four seasons reincarnation vortex was also constantly being worn down. Wang, four seasons reincarnation seal's power was completely worn down and big. Xian Guang. Question mark. Yao. How Qian Guang. Milky Guang. Puff. Lord of the Demon Realm received big. Xian Mu Ci sang. Feather Guang. Guang. Also a badge. Xian Guang. Faintly Guang. Pin Ci Guang. Under the joint efforts of the second primordial spirit and demon venerable barbarian god, the 5 demon god battle slaves were all killed. They flew across the sky and met up with Su Fong. Thank you for your hard work. Looking at the second primordial spirit, Su Fong's heart was surging with emotions, and he was very happy. You are me, and I am you. What hard work is there? The second primordial spirit's cold voice sounded. Su Fong, it really is you. The Lord of the Demon Realm gritted his teeth, and who knows how many of his devil teeth were crushed. == our download address. Mobile reading, bibliographic review. Chapter 1642. Supreme Grand Elder of Tsangzong looking at the second primordial spirit, Xiao, and asked coldly, Ming-san, this lord did not hesitate to consume the resources of the entire demon race, and even took out the demon god's blood that this lord was reluctant to use. So in just a few hundred years, you were cultivated from an ordinary demon lord to such a high level. Why did you betray this lord? The demons had numbered every demon god battle slave that they had painstakingly nurtured. After a series of cruel selections, only these 6 were left, and the second primordial spirit's ranking was the 3rd, crowned with the surname of the demon race, so it was called Ming-san. The second primordial spirit responded coldly, Su Fong is my original body. I am Su Fong. Su Fong is me. How can I betray you? You are actually Su Fong's clone. Puff, the Lord of the Demon Realm couldn't help but spurt out another mouthful of blood, and his aura once again withered a little. The demon god war slave that he spent countless efforts and resources to carefully cultivate turned out to be the clone of his mortal enemy. Moreover, the other 5 demon god war slaves were all killed, and their corpses all fell into the hands of the second primordial spirit. It wouldn't be long before Su Fong could have a demigod-level clone. After working so hard, it turned out to be a wedding dress for the enemy. How could the Lord of the Demon Realm be angry to vomit blood? Lord of the Demon Realm, you took so much trouble to help me cultivate my clone. I will definitely kill more demon race powerhouses to express my gratitude to you. Su Fong mercilessly sprinkled a handful of salt on the bloody wound of the Lord of the Demon Realm. Su Fong, don't be complacent too early. Every demon god war slave that this lord cultivated, their primordial spirit and body were shackled with the supreme, forbidden method of the demon race, and your clone is no exception. This lord also has the ability to suppress your clone at this time. The Lord of the Demon Realm said bitterly. Lord of the Demon Realm, are you talking about the Rakshasa demon god talisman? I'm afraid you'll be happy for nothing again. Su Fong sneered. He flipped his hand and took out a blood-colored rune talisman. He threw it at the immortal devil monster that was inhabited by his second primordial spirit. Su Fong obtained a total of 12 blood-colored rune talismans from young master Qi Ming's storage ring. Later on, the demon god war slaves went through a new round of cruel elimination. Only 6 demon god war slaves were left, and the 12 blood runes became 6. At this time, the other 5 battle slaves had all been killed, leaving only the second primordial spirit. Naturally, there was only one blood-colored rune left to control the battle slaves. After absorbing and devouring the blood-colored runes of the other battle slaves, the blood-colored runes of his second nascent divinity became even more profound and pulsed with a majestic aura of life. The immortal devil monster swallowed it, causing its aura to change. Although it didn't increase by much, it stabilized at the high-level Tao realm. The primordial spirit of the second nascent divinity was almost on par with the lord of the demon realm, this kind of demigod expert. As for the body of the immortal devil monster, Su Fong used the power of the world of yin and yang to fuse an immortal venerable and a demon venerable. It had endless possibilities. Even Luo couldn't help but praise it. At this time, the immortal devil monster had devoured countless demon race resources, including the blood of the demon god. Not only had his body reached the height of immortal venerable Tsang Huan and demon venerable ancient Ming, but with the addition of the second nascent divinity, it was hard for Su Fong to predict how far it would grow in the future. If Luo knew, he would definitely exclaim in admiration, "Rakshasa, demon god talisman. You actually knew the use of the Rakshasa demon god talisman long ago. You even knew that your clone had become a demon god war slave that I had painstakingly nurtured." The lord of the demon realm felt as if his heart was struck by a heavy hammer. His body swayed, and he was so angry that he almost vomited blood. What kind of person was the lord of the demon realm? Of course, he wouldn't forget that young Master Crimson Light was killed by Su Fong. The Rakshasa demon god talisman naturally fell into Su Fong's hands. He still had a trace of fluke, hoping that Su Fong didn't know that the Rakshasa demon god talisman was the key to controlling the demon god war slave. In the future, as long as he killed Su Fong, he could regain control of Su Fong's clone. As long as he could find a way to erase his consciousness, his painstaking efforts would not be in vain. He didn't expect that Su Fong not only knew the use of the Rakshasa demon god talisman, but also knew that the clone was a demon god war slave. The regret in the lord of the demon realm's heart could be imagined. APMB. The next second, the lord of the demon realm's deep eyes flashed with ruthlessness and cruelty. He actually planned to kill Su Fong at all costs. The clone that he created using the demon race's forbidden technique was destroyed by the immortal elder Tianji. Then, he suffered great? Xian Ci sang. Shurgwa Kaiwi Tao Sui Lai, however, if he didn't kill Su Fong, how could he quell the hatred in his heart? Looking at Su Fong's side again, the immortal elder Tianji was already at the end of his rope. The crane old man fled with serious injuries. There were no more demigod powerhouses who could contend against the lord of the demon realm. The immortal cultivators, including the experts under Su Fong and the powerhouses of Tianming Hao Tsang sect, had also suffered heavy casualties. The only ones who could barely fight against the lord of the demon realm were the second primordial spirit and demon venerable barbarian god. Moreover, demon venerable barbarian god had burned his demonic chi and life force before. At this time, he was also an arrow at the end of its flight. If the lord of the demon realm really wanted to kill Su Fong at all costs, with Su Fong's current state, it would be difficult for him to escape this calamity. Lord of the demon realm, don't forget that the demon race still has a life and death enemy at this time, and that is the resurrected powerhouse. You are the only demigod powerhouse in the demon race. If you kill me to vent your anger, causing you to be seriously injured, the demon race will sooner or later be unable to escape the fate of being destroyed by the resurrected powerhouse. Su Fong saw through the lord of the demon realm's thoughts and smiled indifferently. Want to kill me, Su Fong? How can it be as easy as you think? If you still don't give up, why don't you try? Su Fong spoke domineeringly again, his eyes full of disdain and disdain. Could it be that he still has something to rely on? Seeing Su Fong so calm, the lord of the demon realm was startled. How could he know that the only thing left for Su Fong to rely on at this time was the heavenly secret life shrinking technique? If the Lord of the Demon Realm really did not care about the consequences and attacked, Su Fong could only urge the thunder of destiny. Even if he exhausted his life force, he would still seriously injure the Lord of the Demon Realm. At this time, an aged voice rang out from the void. Lord of the Demon Realm, the demon race's momentum is now lost. You should put away your ambition to destroy the immortal Tao world. Before the voice had even finished speaking, an old man in a silver Taoist robe stepped out of the void. This old man had 2 snow-white eyebrows and a faint aura. He looked no different from an ordinary old man, and his face was pale, as if he had just suffered a serious illness. First Supreme Elder. From the immortal Tao camp came the pleasantly surprised voice of the Heaven's Mandate Haotsong sect master. It turned out that this person was an old monster who had lived for an unknown period of time. The first Supreme Elder of the Heaven's Mandate Haotsong sect. The first Supreme Elder of the Heaven's Mandate Haotsong sect. The Lord of the Demon Realm raised an eyebrow, and a trace of apprehension appeared in his eyes. Resurrected powerhouses Ming Gon and Long Yin went to the Heaven's Mandate Haotsong sect, but they ended up trapped in the Great Formation and suffered heavy injuries. However, the Heavenly Mandate Bright Firmament sect's first Supreme Elder had also paid a heavy price for this. His injuries were also quite severe, and he had only appeared now. He's the first Supreme Elder of the Heaven's Mandate Haotsong sect. Su Fong blinked, then his eyes flashed with anger. Although the first Supreme Elder was injured, he wasn't injured to the point where he couldn't fight. Now that Su Fong had reversed the situation in one fell swoop, the first Supreme Elder finally showed up. His intentions couldn't be clearer. Snatch the credit. Snatch the credit of saving the immortal Tao world from Su Fong and give it to him and the Heaven's Mandate Haotsong sect. Immortal Old Man Tianji didn't hesitate to burn his life force for the sake of the immortal Tao and was now on the verge of death. Compared to immortal Old Man Tianji, this old monster of the Heaven's Mandate Haotsong sect was not only cunning, but also despicable and shameless to the extreme. The first Supreme Elder spoke out. Lord of the Demon Realm, the demon race can't destroy the immortal Tao world, and the immortal Tao, led by my Heaven's Mandate Haotsong sect, can't do anything to the demon race. This war can be said to be a lose-lose situation. At this point, if we continue to fight, whether it's the immortal Tao or the demon race, it will be difficult to escape the fate of being destroyed by the resurrected powerhouses. Why don't the immortal and demon sides stop fighting for the time being? The Lord of the Demon Realm was the supreme ruler of the demon race. How could he not hear the first Supreme Elder's intention to compromise? He settled down for a long time. The Lord of the Demon Realm slowly spat out the resentment in his heart and looked at Su Fong with a sharp gaze. The Lord of the Demon Realm issued a majestic order to the demon race. All demons, withdraw, and Apnenpois, the demon experts and army, like a receding tide, rushed to the immortal world behind the demon camp. The demon race retreated. The heavens have eyes. The immortal Tao is indestructible. Su Fong, it's Su Fong who saved us. And Apnb. One after another, cheers converged into a roaring sea, rumbling loudly, shaking all directions. Some cultivators burst into tears, and some cultivators who had already overdrawn their strength and persevered until now by faith and willpower. At this time, their spirits suddenly relaxed, and they suddenly lost consciousness and fainted. Many of them didn't wake up. Whether it was laughing or crying, people's hearts were firmly engraved in a person's name, and a sense of gratitude and reverence grew in their hearts. A trace of faith power from the immortal Tao camp, from the sky ditch to Su Fong, shrouded around him. The sea of faith power converged into Su Fong's body and was absorbed by his origin Golden Dan. The origin Golden Dan and the inside of his body were all Golden Emperor seals. At this time, although Su Fong was still weak, he looked like a supreme existence that dominated the world. He could hardly stand, and a supreme domineering aura arose spontaneously. Seeing this scene, Tianming Hao Tsang Sect Supreme Grand Elder smiled slightly, and a trace of coldness seeped out of his deep eyes. Su Fong, this lord has to admit that your talent, magical power, scheming, and even luck can be called heaven-defying. The lord of the demon realm said slowly and coldly. However, don't forget that in the immortal Tao world, there have been peerless figures more heaven-defying than you, and the demon race has been defeated many times in the immortal and demon war, but the demon race has never been destroyed, standing for countless years without falling. The depth of the demon race's foundation is not something that a little Tao realm cultivator like you can understand. Moreover, the world has changed, and the heavenly law's luck is no longer in the immortal Tao, but in the demon Tao. Although you helped the immortal Tao change its fate at this time, in the end, it is still difficult to change the fate of the immortal Tao. You and the immortal Tao world, even if not destroyed this time, will sooner or later be destroyed in the hands of the demon race. After saying that, the lord of the devil realm disappeared into nothingness without a trace. Novel and app equals underscore our download address. Mobile reading, bibliographic review. Chapter 1643. Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang Sect. Main peak of the Jihong star. Two figures passed through the formation and appeared in the sky above the main peak. It was Su Fong and holy man Han Su. About 10 years had passed since the end of the Great War of the Immortals and Demons. Once the war ended, Su Fong stayed with the Immortal Tao faction. With the help of large amounts of pills and spirit items provided by the Immortal Tao faction, he used 3 years to recover most of his strength. Such recovery speed could be said to be heaven-defying. However, those who knew Su Fong's background were not surprised. Su Fong's recovery caused the Immortal Tao cultivators to shine with high fighting spirit. It seemed that as long as Su Fong was there, the sky of the Immortal Tao world would not collapse. The demon race withdrew from the battlefront and withdrew from the immortal domain. They showed no signs of attacking the Immortal Tao world. In this war, the Immortal Tao world and the demon race could be said to have suffered great losses. Their vitality was greatly damaged, and countless powerhouses fell. Whether it was the Immortal Tao world or the demon race, they would not have the strength to organize another all-out war for at least 10,000 years. The resurrected cultivators also suffered heavy losses this time. They even lost a supreme demigod like Long Yen. They would not make any big moves in the short term. The world of APNB welcomed a rare moment of peace. Therefore, there was no longer any meaning for Su Fong to stay on the front lines of the war. After more or less recovering, Holy Man Han Su personally escorted Su Fong through the space formation of the Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang Sect. After many teleportations, they finally returned to the Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang Sect. Greetings, Xiaozun. Welcome back, Xiaozun. At the foot of the main peak, almost all the cultivators of the Jihong Dao sect were gathered here. When they saw Su Fong appear, they all knelt on the ground and shouted in unison. Everyone's eyes revealed respect and excitement from the bottom of their hearts. It was not the reverence they had before. Since the outbreak of the Great War of the Immortals and Demons, experts from each Dao sect were sent to participate in the war. The Jihong Dao sect was no exception. A small half of them fell in the war. Every cultivator of the Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect knew the extent of the war and the situation the Immortal Tao world was facing. If it weren't for Su Fong's miraculous reversal of the situation, the demon army would have already swept through the Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect. No one would be able to escape the calamity, so how could there be peace now? Because of this, all of them respected Su Fong from the bottom of their hearts. Even if Su Fong told them to die, they wouldn't hesitate at all. Su Fong had experienced the kowtow of an immortal Tao cultivator countless times on his way back, and it filled his heart with warmth. Everything he had done up until now had been worth it. Taoist, Holy Man Han Su wanted to say something, but hesitated. Su Fong, of course, knew what Tao Master Han Su wanted to say. He smiled faintly and said, Tao Master Han Su, do you want to remind me not to be so ostentatious to avoid being hated by others? Holy Man Han Su said, Daozi is right. With Daozi's efforts to turn the tide, which a mortal Dao cultivator would disrespect him. However, going too far is as bad as falling short. I'm sure Daoist knows this as well. I hope Daoist can restrain himself as much as possible to avoid unnecessary trouble. I will treat others the same way they treat me. No matter who it is, if they want to bully me or suppress me, I, Su Fong, am not a weakling that can be trampled on. Su Fong smiled proudly, and his tone revealed a lofty and domineering aura. Dao Master Han Su, please go ahead. I'm going to see Master. Su Fong saluted Holy Man Han Su with his fists and then flew towards the main peak. Holy Man Han Su looked at Su Fong's back and sighed heavily. His eyes were filled with worry, and then he left in embarrassment. Shizuan, disciple, has returned. Su Fong came to the Jihong Immortal Lord's cave abode and bowed deeply towards the depths of the cave abode. The rune talisman that the Jihong Immortal Lord gave to Su Fong became the key to turning the situation around for Su Fong. Su Fong felt that this cheap master of his was more and more unfathomable. Besides respect, there was also gratitude. It's good that you're back. I'm still in closed-door training and won't see you. The Jihong Immortal Lord's voice came from the depths of the cave abode. Yes, Su Fong said respectfully. When Su Fong was about to leave, the Jihong Immortal Lord suddenly said that Azura clan god from the myriad worlds will definitely come to the Heaven's Mandate, Hao Tsang sect, to find you in 100 years. With Master here, you don't have to worry about anything. Su Fong was startled and immediately fell into incomparable shock. Su Fong wasn't worried about the devil race or the resurrected experts. Even if he encountered a half-god expert, with his second primordial spirit and devil venerable barbarian god, Su Fong would be able to escape easily even if he couldn't contend against them. However, in the face of that god, Su Fong was as insignificant as an ant and had no chance to resist at all. Therefore, after the great war of immortals and demons, how to deal with this Luo clansman became a huge mountain in Su Fong's heart. At this time, the Jihong Immortal Lord actually said that the god would be handed over to him to deal with. How could Su Fong not be shocked? In other words, the Jihong Immortal Lord had indirectly admitted his strength. Thank you, Master. Su Fong once again bowed deeply towards the depths of the cave and then entered the cultivation room in the cave. So Luo's race is called Azura. Just how terrifying is Shizuan's strength? He doesn't even put the deities of the god realm in his eyes. Why did he come to the outside world and stay in the Heaven's Mandate, Hao Tsang sect? Su Fong was puzzled, but at the same time, the huge mountain in his heart was gently put down. This time, we've really suffered heavy losses. After checking the losses, Su Fong felt a burst of heartache. Not to mention Su Fong's own losses for the time being, with the terrifying devouring ability of his underworld blood sea, coupled with the recovery ability of the dragon's subduing true body and the Black Lotus true body, and no lack of resources. No matter how large the consumption was, he could quickly make up for it. The ones who suffered heavy losses were Su Fong's subordinates. At this time, less than 300 of the 1,000 newly subdued experts were left, and the rest fell in the final battle. The scene of them killing the devil race with their true chi and physical body without hesitation made Su Fong extremely shocked, and it would never be erased. Su Fong also lost nearly 40,000 of the 100,000 elite subordinates he had left with him. Some of these subordinates were small commanders who had followed Su Fong from the small world until now, and there were also cultivators and big goblin that Su Fong had subdued after coming to the outside world. Every time he lost one, Su Fong would feel heartache, not to mention that he lost so many at once, so one could imagine Su Fong's mood. However, Su Fong was not without gains. The second primordial spirit that had been separated for many years finally returned to him, and after the careful cultivation of the devil race, it had the terrifying strength of the high-level Dao realm, which was a great joy. There was also one more expert by his side, Demon Venerable Barbarian God. However, Demon Venerable Barbarian God burned his devil chi and life force to forcibly increase his strength. After the battle with the Lord of the Devil Realm, His strength was greatly damaged at this time. If there was no devil race supreme treasure like the blood of the devil god, it would be difficult for him to recover to his previous peak state. In addition, Gue swallowed countless devil race cultivators and guerrilla demons in the battle, and her strength had once again undergone a big transformation. Also, after a huge consumption, Su Fong unceremoniously collected a large number of spiritual objects and resources from the rewards of the immortal Tao forces. After 3 years of crazy devouring, not only did he make up for the consumption in the battle, but the accumulation of true qi in his body had reached the peak of the low-level Tao realm, and he would be promoted to the middle-level Tao realm at any time. In addition, the 49th Yang Meridian that was being attacked was about to be successfully born. Su Fong decided to go into seclusion to attack the middle-level Tao realm and the 49th Yang Meridian at the same time. However, before going into seclusion, Su Fong still had an important matter to attend to. Dao Heng Tian. Su Fong formed a seal, and from the Xian Guang that shot out from his palms, shadows of Dao Heng Tian's primordial spirit immediately condensed. Dao Heng Tian's eyes were still closed, but his face revealed joy from the bottom of his heart. Brother Su, I just heard that you returned to Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect and was about to pay you a visit. After a pause, Dao Heng Tian's face revealed guilt, and he sighed. You're really amazing to save the immortal Dao realm from danger by yourself. However, I, Dao Heng Tian, have been hiding in my sect like a turtle. I'm really ashamed, During the final battle between immortal and demon, Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect tricked Dao Heng Tian into returning to the sect with the excuse that his master was dying. Now that the battle had ended, Su Fong became Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect's Dao disciple in name, shining brightly and shaking the great world. On the other hand, Dao Heng Tian, who was the next sect master, was overshadowed and was even criticized by many people in secret. It was no wonder that he was so emotional. Su Fong smiled faintly. It's just luck. My luck has always been good. Luck? Dao Heng Tian smiled bitterly, then asked, You must have something to tell me. Say it. What do you want me to do? I'll do my best to accomplish it. I would like to ask Daoist brother to help me build a monument. Dao Heng Tian was surprised. A monument? Su Fong said in a deep voice, I want every immortal Dao cultivator who died in the immortal demon war to be engraved on a monument, so that the great world will remember it for generations to come. Dao Heng Tian said decisively, This is a big matter. I promise to do it properly. Su Fong then said, The first name on the monument must be Senior Immortal Old Man Tianji. Immortal Old Man Tianji, a demigod expert of the immortal Dao world who mastered the great Dao of Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect. His strength was not inferior to Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect's Supreme Grand Elder. Search Yinsheng // during the war. Immortal Old Man Tianji did not hesitate to burn his own life force to fight against the demon realm's lord. If not for him, even if Su Fong had heaven-defying ability and luck, he would not have been able to change anything. After the war, Immortal Old Man Tianji was in a state of exhaustion and left the immortal Dao camp with Starherder Peak. Just a year later, news came that Immortal Old Man Tianji had died in his secluded cultivation place. Su Fong was full of admiration and gratitude towards Immortal Old Man Tianji, but he had no way to repay him, so he could only express his respect in this way. Su Fong, I understand. Dao Heng Tian nodded and said, his primordial spirit shadow disappeared without a trace between Su Fong's palms. When I succeed in breaking through to the middle stage of the Dao realm, it's time to take back Xuanxin. Su Fong made a decision in his heart and began to settle into a state of cultivation. =_our download address. Mobile reading, bibliographic review. Chapter 1644. Around 50 years later, a mysterious burning and twisting light shot up into the sky from the main peak of the solitary great star. This aura was outside of nature and wasn't bound by any power or laws. It tore through the barrier of the Heaven's Mandate Bright Firmament sect, broke through the shackles of the world, and tore through the evil power of the 5 evil suns. It shot up into the sky. Streaks of starlight appeared in the endless sky and twisted into a vortex. It was as if the heavenly Tao had opened an eye and was looking down on all life in the great world. The twinkling starlight was the gaze of the heavenly Tao. Everything in the world, including energy and laws, paused for a moment. However, this pause was very short, so short that even demigod experts couldn't sense it. They only felt the connection with the heavenly Tao become sluggish for a moment. Such a large commotion naturally attracted the attention of countless cultivators. A heavenly omen. A heavenly omen has appeared. Could it be that some kind of treasure has appeared? In the outside world, what kind of peerless treasure can attract a heavenly omen? Perhaps the connection between the Heaven's Mandate Bright Firmament sect and the heavenly Tao has been re-established. The Heaven's Mandate Bright Firmament sect has regained the protection of the heavenly Tao. Everyone was shocked and broke out into a flurry of discussion. Some people even assumed that the Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect had re-established its connection with the myriad worlds. Only the Jihong Immortal Exalted Immortal was able to discern a hint of what was going on. With his supreme strength, he could sense the aura of the supreme heavenly Tao being released from the room where Su Fong was cultivating in seclusion. It rushed into the sky, causing the heavenly Tao to resonate with it, resonating with it from afar. It's Su Fong. What cultivation method is he cultivating? He actually cultivated the supreme heavenly Tao and reached the middle stage of the Tao realm. He can actually resonate with the heavenly Tao and cause such a heavenly omen. In the depths of the cave, the Jihong Immortal Sovereign and his original body sat opposite each other. Both of their eyes were filled with shock. There's finally hope for my wish to be fulfilled. The deep eyes of Jihong Immortal Venerable's true body flickered with a hale and hearty gaze, and they were filled with anticipation. The exalted Immortal Jihong said that Azura from the God Realm is a bit troublesome. He's just an ordinary Azura clan member. If it was in a myriad of worlds back then, no matter who it is, I'll make sure that he won't be able to return if he dares to threaten my disciple. The Jihong Immortal Sovereign's true body spoke in a domineering manner. A supreme aura that looked down upon the world spontaneously arose. The heavenly omen lasted for about 10 breaths of time. The supreme heavenly way aura released from Su Fong's seclusion disappeared. The heavenly eye in the sky also gradually dissipated. Everything returned to a calm state. In the APMB room, Su Fong's eyes flashed with excitement, and the aura on his body was ethereal and mysterious. After cultivating in seclusion for 50 years, Su Fong broke through the peak of the initial level of the Tao realm and advanced to the middle level of the Tao realm. From the initial level of the Tao realm to the middle level of the Tao realm, Su Fong spent less than 1,000 years. Such speed was simply heaven-defying. It was completely different from other realms. The cultivation of the Tao realm not only required the precipitation and accumulation of energy, but more importantly, the comprehension and cultivation of the great Tao, which was the law. Su Fong's Tao of cultivation was a mysterious supreme heavenly way, which was his Tao palace of heaven and earth. Cultivating the Tao palace of heaven and earth meant that he possessed a godhead. Thus, cultivating the Yang Meridian and the World Tree was Su Fong's great Tao. Su Fong's realm was already sufficient to break through to the middle level of the Tao realm. What he lacked was the accumulation and precipitation of power. In the past 50 years of cultivation, with the help of the terrifying, devouring power of the Yellow Springs Blood Sea, Su Fong's various true body abilities had undergone a huge transformation. The matured Black Lotus true body, Dragon Subduing true body, and Fire Cloud Emperor physique had all transformed to a new level. The Metal true body, Faceless Golden Dipper body, had also finally matured. The Blood Transformation true body, Yellow Springs true body, and Thunder Punishment true body were not far from the perfect state. What he lacked now was only the Earth true body and the Water true body. After fusing with a large number of Earth true bodies, the surface area of the extinguishing Earth had more than doubled, and the Earth True Body's ability had also undergone a huge improvement. Unfortunately, Su Fong had not been able to find a cultivation method for cultivating the Earth True Body. The size of the World Tree did not change much, but the total amount of yin and yang world power contained in the World Tree had more than doubled. The entire World Tree emitted a divine aura, and it flickered with a divine radiance. With his strength and realm reaching a new level, Su Fong's advancement to the middle level of the Tao realm was naturally a matter of course. Su Fong cultivated the mysterious, unparalleled heavenly Tao. At this moment, he had taken a huge step forward in his cultivation of the great Tao. This caused the heavenly Tao to resonate with him, causing the heavenly omen to appear. However, Su Fong had been immersed in cultivation at that time, so he did not know what had happened in the outside world. He was still a bit away from breaking through to the 49th Yang Meridian. As the 9 Yang 9 transformations reached the 5th transformation, the birth of each Yang Meridian became very difficult. The great world's spirit objects and power were already very difficult to use, and it also required fortuitous encounters and opportunities. The second primordial spirit's body was still fusing with the corpses of the other 5 demon god battle slaves. Once it succeeded, the second primordial spirit's strength would undergo another huge transformation. Barbarian god, demon venerable, an ancient great demon, had burned his devil chi and life force when fighting against the lord of the demon realm. He had lost his strength and life force, and it would be difficult for him to recover in a short period of time. APMB's other subordinates had also undergone significant transformations. Feng Ling and Tua Yu had succeeded in advancing to the Tao realm. Of the 1,000 experts who had joined Su Fong at the same time, only a third remained. After the baptism of war and 50 years of accumulation, their strength was far from what it was before. Bai Ling and Yu Miaomei had also improved a lot. Bai Ling had the inheritance of the chaotic heaven monarch. Although his cultivation speed was reversed by Su Fong, he was still astonishingly fast. However, compared to Yu Miaomei, Su Fong and Bai Ling were far inferior. This last was the primordial spirit of the 10,000 manifestations heavenly Dharma. She was a natural prodigy who cultivated the true insight of ethereal. Her current comprehension of the true insight of ethereal was far below even Su Fong's, let alone guiding her in her cultivation. Su Fong estimated that it would not be long before Yu Miaomei could comprehend new abilities from the ethereal true record. It's time to bring back Xuanxin. Thinking of fairy Xuanxin, Su Fong's heart was filled with longing. However, when he thought of how fairy Xuanxin was forcibly taken away by fairy Frozen Dream, Su Fong's eyes exuded traces of coldness. Fairy Frozen Dream, even in your dreams, you would never have imagined that I, Su Fong, would grow to the point where I could easily kill you in a short 1,000 years, right? Fairy Frozen Dream's strength back then was only at the middle level of the Tao realm. However, she had an ice mirror divine tool, so her strength was comparable to a high-level Tao realm expert. And with Su Fong's current strength, he could even contend with a peak high-level Tao realm powerhouse. He could even kill one. So what did Fairy Frozen Dream count for? Bringing back Fairy Xuanxin was a big matter. Su Fong continued seclusion in his cave for half a year. Without waiting for his cultivation to completely stabilize, he decided to leave for Fairy Frozen Dream's seclusion place. Su Fong walked out of his cave and informed Honorable Immortal Ji Hong of his whereabouts. Then, he left Honorable Immortal Ji Hong, arrived at Bright Sky City, and entered the Great Star Hall. When Su Fong came out, a jade slip appeared in his hand. The jade slip contained all the information he had obtained from the Great Star Hall regarding Fairy Frozen Dream. It seems that this Fairy Frozen Dream isn't as simple as I thought. Su Fong frowned. There wasn't much information about Fairy Frozen Dream from the Great Star Hall. Fairy Frozen Dream lived in seclusion in a wasteland called the Ice Dream Profound Sky. It was located at the edge of the central immortal domain. Although it was a long journey and there were many dangers to enter the Ice Dream Profound Sky, these were nothing to Su Fong. The Grand Star Hall didn't have any records of Lady Frozen Dream's origin and life experience, so it was very mysterious. It only vaguely mentioned that Lady Frozen Dream's true strength wasn't what the outside world knew. Even the mysterious Grand Star ancestor of the Grand Star Hall was somewhat afraid of Lady Frozen Dream. No matter what Fairy Frozen Dream's origin or strength is, I won't let anyone who dares to harbor evil intentions toward Xuanqing go, even if they are gods from the myriad worlds. Su Fang's eyes flashed with ruthlessness and decisiveness. Before the final battle between immortals and demons, the Heaven's Mandate Bright Firmament Sect Master promised to send experts to Fairy Frozen Dream after the battle to bring back Xuanqing. At this time, Su Fang didn't have the slightest favorable impression of the Heaven's Mandate Bright Firmament Sect and didn't feel like meeting the Sect Master. He quietly left the sect alone. In order not to cause any unnecessary trouble, Su Fang used his Great Perfection Stage ability to change his appearance. After leaving the Heaven's Mandate Bright Firmament Sect, Su Fang used a spatial array and went through several teleportations to leave the Heaven's Mandate Bright Firmament Sect's sphere of influence and arrived at an immortal domain. The journey was surprisingly peaceful. They didn't encounter any demons, nor did they encounter any resurrected powerhouses. However, the great war between immortals and demons brought great harm to the immortal Tao world. Not only did the demons occupy more than a dozen immortal domains, the other immortal domains were also in a state of desolation due to the war. Sky Spill Immortal Domain? Su Fang arrived at an immortal domain and saw the name of the immortal domain on the map given to him by the Great Star Hall. The Heavenly Evolution Immortal World. Sky Spill Immortal Domain was a very ordinary immortal domain in the outside world. However, Sky Spill Immortal Domain had produced a great figure who Su Fang sincerely admired. Immortal Old Man Tianji. Sky Spill Immortal Domain was the hometown of Immortal Old Man Tianji. Although he left Sky Spill Immortal Domain after becoming a demigod powerhouse, his existence made Sky Spill Immortal Domain famous in the outside world. Since I've come to Senior Old Man Tianji's hometown, I have to pay my respects to his former cultivation residence, no matter what. Thinking of Immortal Old Man Tianji, Su Fang felt a burst of sadness in his heart. Su Fang broke through the sky. When he appeared, he was already in the depths of Sky Spill Immortal Domain. Using his perfect realm ability and the life-shrinking technique, Su Fang immediately sensed a very familiar presence in a mountain range in the depths of Sky Spill Immortal Domain. How did Star Herding Peak come here? Immortal Old Man Tianji's place of cultivation was not in Sky Spill Immortal Domain, but Star Herding Peak appeared here, which made Su Fang very surprised. _our download address. Mobile reading. Bibliographic review. Chapter 1645. Deep in the Heaven Spill Immortal World was a mountain peak. It wasn't very tall, but it was full of spirit energy and shrouded in immortal mist all year round, giving a mysterious feeling. When cultivators of the Heaven Spill Immortal World passed through this mountain range, they would come to the foot of the mountain and respectfully kowtow. Every day, there would be hundreds of cultivators sitting cross-legged under a smooth mountain wall at the foot of the mountain, studying the murals on the wall. Of course, these weren't ordinary murals. They were left behind by Immortal Fate Old Man after he reached the peak of the Tao realm with a supreme ability. It was said that Immortal Fate Old Man obtained the Heaven Spill Mystic Solution and comprehended the grand Tao of Heaven's secrets from it. This was how he became a supreme existence in the great world. Although the murals on the mountain walls were only created by Immortal Elder Tianji's divine ability and were not the real Heaven's evolution solution for Tao realm cultivators, even if they could comprehend bits and pieces of it, it would still be extremely beneficial. As for cultivators below the Tao realm, they didn't even dare to take a few glances at the Heaven's divination mystery decipher. Otherwise, it would be easy for them to be immersed in the mysterious great Tao of Heaven's divination and be unable to extricate themselves. They might even suffer a backlash from the heavenly Tao because of their insufficient cultivation. At the peak of the mountain, there was a grass hut with a tomb next to it. It looked like it had been built not long ago. The name on the tombstone was Immortal Fate, Old Man. At this very moment, Mu Xingfeng, dressed in mourning clothes, sat cross-legged in front of the tomb. Two figures stood majestically behind him. One of them was an old man with an aquiline nose. His eyes were extremely sharp, and his aura was ethereal. He gave off an unfathomable and vast feeling. He was a peerless expert at the peak of the high-level Tao realm. The old man seemed to be one with the heaven and earth. He had the unique aura of a cultivator from the heaven's mandate bright firmament sect. Given this person's strength, his status in the Tianming Haotsong sect was even higher than the first elders. He was a supreme elder. He hadn't participated in the great war between immortals and demons and had remained behind to guard the heavenly mandate Haotsong sect. The other person was also an expert from the heaven's mandate Haotsong sect. However, his cultivation base was much lower, only at the middle level of the Tao realm. He was Immortal Venerable Yangju. Immortal Venerable Yangju said, "Star-herding peak. Master Yang is a Tao master and the supreme elder of the heavenly mandate Haotsong sect. He has a noble status, and he came to the Sky Evolution Immortal World to pay respects to Senior Tianji. As the only disciple of Senior Tianji, how can you ignore Tao Master Yang?" Mu Xingfeng paused for a while and said indifferently without turning his head, "Paying respects to Shizhuan is fake. The real thing is to get the Tian Yin Xianjia." Yang Holy Man's eyebrows furrowed as a sharp gaze flashed. Immortal Venerable Yangju's face suddenly darkened and he shouted coldly, "Mu Xingfeng, you're really young and arrogant. You don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. How dare you speak to Yang Holy Man in such a tone?" Yang Holy Man said faintly, "Senior Tianji's Tian Yin Xianjia is a divine-level technique. It's unfathomable. How can an ordinary cultivator pry into it? Senior Tianji fell for the immortal Tao realm, and I have great respect for him. Why would I covet his technique? I just want to borrow the Tian Yin Xianjia to study it. I'll return it to you in a few days." Mu Xingfeng snorted with laughter. Then he said, "When Tao Master says you want to borrow, you must be borrowing but not returning it, right?" Yang Holy Man's deep eyes exuded coldness, and he threatened, "There are many people who covet the Tian Yin Xianjia. When the time comes, not only will you not be able to keep the Tian Yin Xianjia, you'll even be killed. In order to preserve the last legacy of immortal Tianji, and for your own safety, I have to get the Tian Yin Xianjia no matter what." As soon as he finished speaking, the Yang Holy Man released an ever-changing aura that enveloped the star-herding peak. The natural spiritual energy of heaven and earth was quickly condensed into an invisible cage, shackling the star-herding peak. Immortal Master Yang Ju said gloomily, "Mu Xingfeng, I advise you to know what's good for you. Immortal Tianji has fallen, and there's no one to protect you anymore. If you're still as arrogant as before, you won't be far from death. Take the initiative to hand over the Tian Yin Xianjia, and Yang Holy Man will naturally protect your safety in the future. This way, you'll have the best of both worlds. Why don't you do it? Since you can't get it by chance, you've changed it to robbery?" Mu Xingfeng laughed coldly. "Even though Master has fallen, there's no one to protect me? What kind of person is Master? He has never made a mistake in his divination. Before he fell, he had already found a big backer for me. The two of you are going too far. Aren't you afraid that you'll be killed?" Yang Holy Man and Immortal Master Yangju were both stunned. Then, they sneered disdainfully at the same time. Immortal Master Yangju said, "Master Yang Holy Man is a peak powerhouse in the great world. Moreover, he's the supreme elder of the Tianming Haotsong sect. Even the sect master is polite to him. In the entire great world, other than the supreme elder of the Tianming Haotsong sect, who else is more powerful than Master Yangju? Mu Xingfeng, you're actually using your so-called backer to scare Master Yangju. Isn't that laughable?" Mu Xingfeng laughed proudly and said slowly, "The backer that Master found for me is called Su Feng. I wonder if he's more powerful than Yang Holy Man." Su Feng. Hearing this name, immortal venerable Yang Ju felt as though someone had ruthlessly stabbed him in the chest. His entire body stiffened. Yang Holy Man's divine light also changed instantly, and a look of fear appeared in his eyes. Su Fong was still a Taoist of the heavenly fate Hao Tsong sect. His status in the sect was equivalent to that of the Great Elder. However, in front of the Supreme Elder, Yang, he was still somewhat lacking. However, after the Great War of the Immortals and Demons, Su Fong's reputation in the Tianming Hao Tsong sect and even the entire immortal Tao world rose to a height that no one in the great world could match. Even a demigod like the Supreme Elder of the Tianming Hao Tsong sect couldn't reach such heights. At this moment, Su Fong was the absolute spiritual leader of the immortal Tao world. With a command, who knows how many cultivators would respond and die for him. This kind of influence and rallying power wasn't suppressed with great strength. Instead, it was exchanged for by Su Fong sacrificing everything to save the immortal Tao world. It had already turned into a kind of faith that no one could shake. Offending Su Fong was tantamount to becoming an enemy of the entire immortal Tao world. Not to mention Yang Holy Man and the Supreme Elder of the Tianming Hao Tsong sect. Even the Supreme Elder had to carefully consider carefully. Su Fong? So what? Yang Holy Man snorted coldly and said coldly, no matter how great his reputation is, he's still a disciple of the Tianming Hao Tsong sect. How dare he offend his superiors and meddle in my business? Immortal Master Yang Ju said disdainfully. Su Fong? He repeatedly violated the sect's taboos and showed off his abilities. He even offended a god. In less than 100 years, he'll die prematurely. You actually want him to be your backer? What a joke. Tianming Hao Tsong sect, adding insult to injury. How despicable. More than 10 cultivators rushed out from the palace on the mountain peak. Some of these cultivators were the descendants of immortal Master Tianji. Some were his disciples in name. These people weren't very strong. The strongest disciple was only in the initial stage of the Tao realm. Mu Xingfeng knew that Yang Holy Man and immortal Master Yang Ju didn't have good intentions when they came to the Sky Spill immortal world. Hence, he let the descendants and disciples of immortal Master Tian Ji hide in the palace while he dealt with them alone. He didn't think that Yang Holy Man and immortal Master Yang Ju would be so shameless. Immortal Master Tian Ji died in battle for the immortal Tao. The two of them wanted to take advantage of the situation and steal the Sky Spill immortal Master Yang Ju's explanation. Immortal Elder Tianji's descendants and registered disciples could no longer hold themselves back and rushed out recklessly. You dare to insult me? Yang Holy Man raised his eyebrows. Offending the Holy Man is a crime punishable by death. Out of respect for immortal Master Tianji, you could be spared from death. However, you can't escape punishment. Immortal Master Yang Ju said coldly. After he formed a seal, he waved his hand, and a divine aura with the aura of death appeared. It descended and enveloped the bodies of the cultivators. Immortal Master Yang Ju's great Tao of sickness contained a terrifying power that could destroy the body's life force. The life force of the cultivators rapidly declined as if they were suffering from a serious illness. Immortal Master Tianji's descendants and disciples struggled in pain. Mu Xingfeng was enraged. His eyes burned with anger as he roared. Master's body hasn't even turned cold, and you dare to attack his descendants? Aren't you afraid of being punished by the heavens? Yang Holy Man said with a voice filled with killing intent. Hand over the Sky Spill immortal Master Yang Ju's explanation. Otherwise, I'll suppress you. If Su Fong dares to interfere, I'll suppress him too. All of a sudden, a cold voice sounded from the void. Is that so? I'll interfere then. Let's see how the two of you from the heavenly fate, Hao Tsong sect, are going to suppress Su Fong. A figure slowly appeared in the sky above the mountain peak. Hearing the familiar voice and seeing the familiar face, as well as the bone-chilling gaze, immortal Master Yang Ju felt as if he had fallen into an ice cellar. His entire body emitted a cold chill. The divine aura that shackled immortal master Tianji's descendants and disciples also disappeared instantly. Su Fong, Eong Holy Man's eyes flashed with light before he regained his composure and said, Yang Ju, with me here, do you think Su Fong can eat you? Brother Su Fong. Mu Xingfeng nodded towards Su Fong. Brother Mu. Su Fong flew across the sky and landed on the mountain peak. He nodded towards Mu Xingfeng and released the divine aura of the world of yin and yang without a trace, breaking the shackles around Mu Xingfeng. A trace of shock appeared in Eong Holy Man's eyes. The shackles that he personally created were difficult for even high-level Dao realm experts to break, but they were easily broken by Su Fong. At this moment, Eong Holy Man realized that Su Fong, the heavenly fate hero who saved the immortal Dao world, was not just a boast. He couldn't help but feel some fear towards Su Fong. Senior Heavenly Secrets. Su Fong looked at the grave of immortal Tianji, then bowed deeply 3 times to the grave with sincerity. Yangju, let's go. Eong Holy Man brought immortal Master Yangju and was about to leave the mountain peak. Did I allow you to leave? Su Fong did not even turn his head as he spoke in a majestic voice. =our download address. Mobile reading, bibliographic review. Chapter 1646. Su Fong's domineering voice stunned both Eong Holy Man and immortal Master Yangju. Sang *%, dance *%, small *%, speak immortal venerable Yangju shouted coldly. Eong Dao Venerable is the supreme elder of the heavenly mandate Hao Tsang sect. Why would he need Su Fong's permission to go anywhere? Su Fong, you're really arrogant to the extreme. Su Fong said coldly. If it were any other place, Su Fong, wouldn't care even if Dao Master wanted to go to heaven or to hell. In front of Senior Tianji's grave, I have to take care of it. Seeing Su Fong stand up for him, Mu Xingfeng's spirit was lifted. He looked at Su Fong with eyes full of gratitude. Mu Xingfeng's personality was aloof and arrogant. When immortal Elder Tianji was still alive, not only did others not care about his arrogance, they even treated him with respect and praised him to the heavens. Now that the heavenly fate celestial elder had fallen, the star-herding peak had lost its powerful backer and felt the fickleness of the world. Today, they were even bullied by the Eong Holy Man in front of the heavenly fate celestial elder's tomb. They almost couldn't even protect the Xian Jie of heavenly fate. At this time, Su Fong appeared in time and didn't hesitate to offend a big shot from the heaven's mandate Hao Tsang sect. Naturally, Mu Xingfeng was very grateful. When a person was rich, others would give you a mountain of gold. You wouldn't feel anything. But when you were in trouble, even if you were given a straw, it would be extremely precious. Su Fong, he is Su Fong. Immortal Elder Tianji's descendants and registered disciples were all very excited when they found out about Su Fong's identity. Immortal Reverend Yangju shouted, Su Fong, don't forget your identity. You're still a Dao disciple of the Heaven's Mandate, Hao Tsang sect. They're just some outsiders. Are you willing to offend Eong for these outsiders? Outsiders? Su Fong's deep eyes exuded coldness. Senior divination saved my life, and the entire immortal Dao realm was saved because of him. To me, senior divination is no different from my elder. How can he be considered an outsider? Although the two of you can be considered as my seniors from the same sect, your conduct is so despicable and shameless. What qualifications do you have to be on the Su Fong side? Senior Tianji's body hasn't even turned cold yet. In front of his grave, you actually want to snatch the heaven's divination solution from his only disciple. Now, you actually want to pat your buttocks and leave. How can there be such a good thing in this world? Su Fong's voice was like a sharp sword, sharp and cold, aggressive and domineering. Immortal Reverend Yangju was enraged. Yangju waved his hand and said, Disciple Su Fong is right. I was in the wrong first. Su Fong was stunned. This Yangju was indeed an old ghost who had lived for tens of millions of years. He was able to let go of things. He wasn't a simple person. Yangju cupped his fist towards star-herding peak and said in a low voice, My conduct this time was very inappropriate. There were misunderstandings. Please forgive me and don't take it to heart." Then, Yangju looked apologetic and said, "Yangju injured someone just now. I'm willing to take out 10,000 God Essence pills as compensation. I also promise you that if anyone dares to harm the heavens, divination, and mortal world in the future, I'll be the first to kill them. What do you think of my sincerity?" Yangju's attitude made star-herding Peak hesitate. Yangju wasn't an ordinary person. He was the supreme elder of the Tianming Haotsong sect. He was definitely a top existence in the outside world. If they really became enemies with him, it wouldn't be good for star-herding Peak or even the entire heavens, divination, and mortal world. The descendants and disciples of Immortal Master Tianji were all elated. Immortal Master Tianji's death was like the collapse of the sky to them. They were also treated coldly by others. Now, a Peak Dao realm expert actually lowered his head to them. How could they not be elated? All of a sudden, Su Fong said coldly, "It's far from enough. You tried to take the heavens, divination, Immortal Master Tianji and injured him. Just a few words of apology, some God Essence pills, and a few empty promises. You want to let this matter go? Dao Master Tianji's idea is really good." Yangju raised his eyebrows. "Dao disciple Su Fong, what do you want?" Su Fong said indifferently. Dao Master Tianji kneeled in front of Immortal Master Tianji's grave for 3 days and wrote a letter of apology to spread throughout the outside world. As for Yangju, who injured him, he destroyed his own Dao path. What a domineering Su Fong! Star-herding Peak's eyes were filled with shock. He immediately understood Su Fong's intentions, and his heart was filled with gratitude. Yangju was even willing to take advantage of a burning house. How could his so-called apology and promise be taken seriously? Once Su Fong left the heavens, divination, and mortal world, Yangju would definitely return. At that time, not only would the heavens, divination, and mortal master Tianji be unable to keep his life, star-herding Peak would also be in danger. Su Fong was so domineering. Not only did he want to destroy Yangju's reputation and cripple Immortal Master Yangju, he also wanted to use this matter to tell the entire outside world that whoever dared to touch the descendants of Immortal Master Tianji would have to face Su Fong's wrath of thunder. Su Fong did not even let go of a peerless figure like Yangju, who would dare to have ideas about the heavens, divination, Immortal Master Tianji in the future. Immortal Master Tianji's descendants and in-name disciples were shocked by Su Fong's domineering actions. They already felt proud to be able to make Yangju bow his head. Su Fong actually wanted to destroy Yangju's reputation. How domineering was this? While they were shocked, these people all felt incomparably delighted. Immortal Master Yangju thundered, "Su Fong, don't go too far." Su Fong sneered, "Weren't you very proud and arrogant when you were bullying others just now? If it were you now, why would you find it hard to accept? Those who humiliate others will be humiliated by others. Don't you understand this principle? I'll leave now. Let's see what you can do to me." Immortal Master Yangju suddenly released a deathly aura that swept across the surroundings. His figure flashed, and 9 identical Immortal Masters of Yangju escaped in different directions. APMB at the same time. Yangju also suddenly made his move. His target was not Su Fong, but Mu Xingfeng. He clasped his hands together and suddenly separated them. A Xian Guang, which was illusory and real, turned into a white chain and firmly locked Mu Xingfeng. Then, it quickly turned into nothingness and seeped into Mu Xingfeng's body to shackle Mu Xingfeng. This sly old fox knew that Su Fong was not easy to deal with. Therefore, he did not choose to attack Su Fong. Instead, he chose to subdue Mu Xingfeng. In this way, Su Fong would be cautious. As long as he returned to the Tianming Haotsong sect, what could Su Fong do to him? At that time, the Heavens Amplification Mystery Solution would also fall into his hands. It could be said that he killed 2 birds with 1 stone. The Great Tao of Illusion? Su Fong's eyes flashed with surprise when he saw Yangju's Abhijna. Yangju's Abhijna was actually the Great Tao of Illusion. It was very similar to the Ethereal Enlightenment. There are thousands of Great Taos. Illusion was also a Great Tao. The ethereal enlightenment was one of the great Tao of illusion. The ethereal quintessence was something that came from nothingness to reality, and from reality to nothingness. It could even create matter and stars in the nothingness of the starry sky. Compared to the ethereal enlightenment, Yangju's great Tao of illusion was much more stingy. It could only be used in Abhijna attacks. There was a huge gap between it and the ethereal enlightenment. Second, primordial spirit. I'll leave immortal monarch Yangju to you. Su Fong released the immortal monarch monster. It entered the void and chased after immortal monarch Yangju. With the strength of the second primordial spirit, dealing with immortal monarch Yangju was like using a butcher's knife to kill a chicken. No matter how heaven-defying immortal monarch Yangju's Abhijna was, it would be difficult for him to escape from the hands of the second primordial spirit. Su Fong formed a hand seal and activated the ethereal myriad spell Tao. Using the world Abhijna, he broke the Abhijna chains that shackled Muxing Feng. The ethereal enlightenment's Abhijna, Yangju's eyes were filled with shock. He cultivated the great Tao of illusion. Naturally, he knew about the ethereal enlightenment and the ethereal spiritual master. He even cultivated it for a long time. However, he didn't gain anything from it. Therefore, he thought that the ethereal enlightenment created by the ethereal spiritual master was just a joke. Later on, Yangju also found out that Su Fong had mastered the ethereal enlightenment through other channels. However, he was still skeptical. Now that he saw Su Fong using the ethereal enlightenment's Abhijna with his own eyes, and Su Fong easily dispelling his Abhijna, Yangju knew that the rumors were true. To think that the ethereal enlightenment could be so powerful when used with the strength of an early-stage Tao realm cultivator. No, Su Fong's cultivation is actually in the mid-stage Tao realm. Unexpectedly discovering Su Fong's true cultivation level, young holy man was once again shocked. During the Tao Disciple competition, Su Fong was only in the Saint Immortal Ninth Tao realm. Only a few hundred years had passed. Not only had he broken through to the Tao realm, but he had also reached the mid-stage Tao realm. How terrifying was this? This child is too heaven-defying. I can either be on good terms with him, or at least not make him my enemy, or kill him before he grows. Kill Su Fong on the spot? Even the Lord of the demonic realm couldn't do it. Yangju, who was at the peak of the Tao realm, shouldn't even think about it. Everyone in the greater world knew about Su Fong's deeds. Yangju was no exception. During the Great War of the Immortals and Demons, Su Fong was only in the early stage Tao realm. Now that he had reached the mid-stage Tao realm, how powerful would he be? Besides, Su Fong's avatar, who was carefully cultivated by the Lord of the demonic realm as a demonic god war slave, was also an ancient great demon. How could Yangju contend against him? Yangju dismissed the idea of killing Su Fong. He was extremely fearful and couldn't muster up any fighting spirit. His figure flashed, and he was about to escape into the void. You want to leave without writing a letter of apology? Su Fong sneered disdainfully. He used the ethereal primordial realm's Abhijna and released the power of the yin-yang world at the same time. In an instant, the void seemed to have solidified. Even with the Yangju strength, he couldn't tear the void apart in a short period of time. Su Fong, don't go too far. Yangju shouted angrily. You can either write a letter of apology and kneel in front of Senior Tianji's grave to apologize, or you can destroy your Tao path. You have two choices. You could choose one. Su Fong said domineeringly and then released the barbarian god, Demon Venerable. Although the barbarian god, Demon Venerable's strength was severely damaged during the Great War of the Immortals and Demons, he was still a famous ancient peak master of the demon race. His deterrence was not ordinary. Although Yangju was shocked and angry, he gave up the idea of escaping. He shouted angrily, Su Fong, what kind of person am I? If I write a letter of apology, how can I face others in the future? If you have the ability, you can fight me alone. If you can win, you could do whatever you want with me. As you wish. Su Fong smiled coldly and flew into the sky. equals underscore our download address. Mobile reading, bibliographic review. Chapter 1647. Phew. 8 reading book. Yong Dao Master flew into the sky and looked at Su Fong from 100 miles away. The two of them appeared in the sky and immediately attracted the attention of the cultivators of the sky spill immortal world who were studying the mysterious solution of the sky spill immortal world. One of the early stage Dao realm immortal venerables was shocked when he realized that he could not see through Yong Dao Master and Su Fong's cultivation. At this time, Yong Dao Master shouted, "Su Fong, I don't want to make a big deal out of this and I don't want to be your enemy. Why do you have to be so aggressive? Let me leave and I'll owe you a favor. How about it? If we didn't pass by the sky spill immortal world today, would you let go of the star-herding peak?" Su Fong was not shaken and responded strongly. It was not that Su Fong was unforgiving, but Su Fong knew that the strong preyed on the weak in the great world, and he could not be soft-hearted. Moreover, Yong Dao Master and Yang Ju Dao Master had gone too far this time and touched Su Fong's reverse scale. If he did not teach them a lesson, it would be difficult to dispel the greed in their hearts. If that's the case, don't blame me for not showing mercy. Yong Dao Master said gloomily. In his anger, there was a ruthless look in his eyes. Su Fong? Which Su Fong? In the great world, how many Su Fangs can there be? Su Fong actually came to the sky spill immortal world. Senior Tianji saved Su Fong's life, and young Master Mu is on good terms with Su Fong. What's so strange about him coming to the sky spill immortal world? Who is that person? He dares to fight with Su Fong? Is he a demonic cultivator? You really don't know what death is. There was a lot of discussion below. Their words were full of respect for Su Fong, but they treated Yong Dao Master as a weakling that Su Fong could slaughter. With Yong Dao Master's hearing, he naturally heard the discussion below clearly. He was very angry in his heart. After the Yong holy man formed the seal, an ethereal and ever-changing divine power was released. In an instant, it enveloped an area of 100 miles and enveloped Su Fong within the divine power. Within this area, the natural spiritual energy of heaven and earth, the power of the world, and even the laws of nature became erratic and unpredictable. What is illusory is real. What is real is illusory. What is illusory is real. What is illusory is illusory. Myriad changes. The young holy man conjured an earth-shattering spell seal. In a split second, streaks of illusory figures appeared from the void. First, they were silhouettes. Then, they quickly became real and turned into lifelike beasts. These ferocious beasts were not just for show. They were real existences. Together, they let out earth-shattering roars and gathered together. Like an exploding mountain flood, they rushed towards Su Fong. To be able to cultivate the great Tao of illusory to such a level and use it in his abhijna, the power is so terrifying. This Yong Dao Master is indeed the supreme elder of the Tianming Haotsong sect. Although Yong Dao Master's character was poor, one had to admit that his strength was not to be underestimated. After reaching the mid-level of the Dao realm, I was just about to find an opponent to test it on. This Yong Dao Master is just right for me to practice. Su Fong's eyes flashed with fighting spirit. He activated the formless golden dipper body, and his skin instantly turned into a golden copper color. Even his muscles and bones turned into a metallic state. A sharp and incomparably ferocious metal elemental divine might was released. Then, Su Fong exploded with an unstoppable and astonishing aura, directly killing the tide of ferocious beasts. Boom, 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 boom. Su Fong stepped forward step by step. Wherever his footsteps passed, the bronze-colored Xian Guang was swept up. The dust in the void quickly turned into powder-like particles. After using the ability of the formless golden body, Su Fong not only had an invincible aura, but also a terrifying divine power that could turn everything into metal. Su Fong was like a sharp sword, tearing apart Yong Dao Master's divine power and tearing the ferocious beasts into pieces. Su Fong released a strange metal-type divine power, causing the ferocious beasts to turn into metal instantly. Then, Su Fong smashed them into pieces. However, the number of ferocious beasts formed by Yi Yang Dao Master's Abhijna was simply too many. After being killed by Su Fong, new ferocious beasts were formed in an instant. It was almost impossible to kill them all. Let's see how powerful the most powerful attack of the formless golden body is after it matures. Su Fong suddenly let out a sharp whistle. The sound had an astonishing penetrative ability, shattering all the ferocious beasts within a 10-mile radius. The space also shook violently. Then, Su Fong exploded with an incomparably sharp metal-type divine power. Everything in the surroundings was turned into metal. Even energy and laws were metallized. Yang Dao Master first felt as if his eardrums were pierced by Su Fong's sound, and there was a sharp pain. Then, under Su Fong's metal-type divine power, his Abhijna and even his physical body were all solidified. There was a feeling of being metallized. You've cultivated the metal-type true body. You're indeed extraordinary. Yang Dao Master's eyes were solemn. Then, Su Fong formed a series of hand seals. The surrounding matter and dust that had been metallized by the divine might of the gold elements swirled around him, forming a terrifying metal storm. With a terrifying aura that could destroy everything, it crushed towards the Yang holy man. Wherever the storm swept, the ferocious beasts that Yang Dao Master created with his Abhijna, as well as his Abhijna, were shattered layer by layer. Boom, 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 boom. Yang Dao Master channeled the great Tao of the void and converted the energy and laws of nothingness into a real existence. It collided violently with Su Fong's metal storm. The metal storm pushed forward until it was more than 30 miles away from Yang Dao Master. It was completely destroyed, and there was nothing left. Su Fong's formless golden body had matured, and its power was enough to contend against ordinary high-level Dao Master. However, it was clearly not enough to deal with a peerless Dao Master at the peak of the high-level Dao Master. Su Fong, if this is all you've got, I can't help but wonder how you managed to turn the tide in the great war of the immortals and demons. Yang Holy Man laughed proudly, and once again struck out a series of Dharma seals. The void trembled violently, and a series of towering mountains condensed in the void. Suppress. A total of 9 mountains, each 10 miles in size, whizzed in front of Yang Dao Master and flew above Su Fong. They rapidly changed their positions and arranged themselves into a formation. With a terrifying aura that could suppress the heavens and earth, they descended. The void shattered. The laws of nature collapsed. The heavens fell and the earth cracked. Su Fong was as small as an ant in front of such an astonishing Abhijna. I don't know if Yang Dao Master's great Tao of the void or my ethereal enlightenment is more powerful. Su Fong was about to channel the ethereal enlightenment Abhijna. Suddenly, Yu Miaomei's voice sounded from the Jinlong realm within his body. Tianbao, let me try, okay? Su Fong was startled and immediately responded, then I'll let you play. Ever since Yu Miaomei followed Su Fong, she stayed in the Jinlong realm all day long. Although she was accompanied by Bai Ling, she felt extremely bored. After all, she was only a teenager. At this time, she actually intended to use the ethereal enlightenment Abhijna to contend against a peerless expert at the peak of the advanced Dao realm. She was playing a little too big. Su Fong naturally would not let Yu Miaomei directly confront Yang Dao Master. Her current cultivation level was not even at the mystic immortal realm. Su Fong moved Yu Miaomei into the Xianwang Six Paths Pagoda. With the help of his natal magic treasure, he released Yu Miaomei's ethereal qi and the ethereal enlightenment's power through Su Fong's body. At the same time, Su Fong also activated the world tree and released the power of the yin-yang world. He also activated his own ethereal qi. Otherwise, no matter how deep Yu Miaomei's understanding of the ethereal enlightenment was, it would be difficult for her to contend against a peerless expert at the peak of the advanced Dao realm. Su Fong's power radiated out and controlled the surrounding matter, energy, and even the laws. Eong Dao Master's Great Tao of the Void was to use the Great Tao of the Void in an Abhijna attack, while the ethereal enlightenment controlled a part of the void. The difference between the two was obvious. Moreover, Su Fong also used the power of the Yin-Yang world, a god-level power. After Su Fong unleashed the true essence of ethereal enlightenment, it was equivalent to seizing control over the heavens and the earth, causing the Eong holy man's Abhijna to be like water without a source. The 9 mountains that were created by the Abhijna shook violently and became blurry. The terrifying aura was also reduced by more than half. Boom, boom, boom. No matter how Eong Dao Master activated, the 9 mountains lasted for more than 20 breaths of time before they collapsed one after another and turned into nothingness. The true essence of ethereal enlightenment is above my great way of the void. Eong Holy Man was shocked. However, it was impossible for him to admit defeat just like that. If Eong Dao Master knew that the one who activated the ethereal enlightenment was not Su Fong, but a little girl who had not even reached the mystic immortal stage, he would probably be so angry that he would vomit blood. In the next moment, Su Fong activated the sword orb and teleported 3 times in a row to within 1,000 feet of Eong Dao Master. The Tao of the void and the reality disintegrate all things. Eong Dao Master did not dodge or evade. He separated his palms and unleashed a Xianguang. It carried a powerful divine power that could disintegrate all things. It could disintegrate any material, energy, and abhijna that existed in reality into nothingness. Boom! Su Fong absorbed all the power in his body into the world tree. The divine power of the yin-yang world swept out from his body and turned himself into a world outside of the heaven and earth. In the world that Su Fong transformed himself into, his will and power were everything in this world. He was the absolute ruler of this world. Eong Dao Master's Abhijna borrowed the power and laws of the heaven and earth. In Su Fong's world, it could not continue. Layer by layer, it shattered and finally collapsed. Under the divine power of Su Fong's yin-yang world, it did not exist. 36.0 search. Half-floating / equals even Eong Dao Master's body was shackled. It was difficult for him to move. Even his connection with the real world became faint. It was difficult for him to unleash the full power of his Abhijna. After advancing to the Tao realm, Su Fong turned himself into a world. Its power was terrifying. Boom, boom, boom. Su Fong took a step forward and punched. Every punch landed solidly on Eong Dao Master's chest. Su Fong, how dare you humiliate me like this? Eong Holy Man let out a thunderous roar. A peerless expert at the peak of the Tao realm, the pinnacle of existence in the greater world, was beaten like a human sandbag. One could imagine the anger and frustration in Eong Dao Master's heart. Equals _our download address. Mobile reading, bibliographic review. Chapter 1648. Damn it, what kind of world is this? It's not the essence of heaven and earth and the power of the stars. Eong Holy Man was shocked. After Su Fong ascended to the middle level of the Tao realm, the world that he created with his own body was the realm that he touched with the help of the Bodhi Enlightenment Incense. Su Fong's world was no longer just a world of divine power. Like heaven and earth, it had its own power and laws. The radiation area was still only 1,000 feet, but it was more stable, and its control of the world was more powerful. It was no longer like before, where all its power would be exhausted after 10 breaths. With Eong Holy Man's strength, his understanding of the great Tao had reached the peak of the great world. Furthermore, he cultivated the great Tao of illusion and reality. His control of the power of the world had also reached the peak of the cultivators of the great world. Even if he was in the midst of the world of an advanced Tao realm cultivator, Eong Holy Man could still use his powers and shatter the enemy's world. However, at the end of the day, Eong Holy Man's powers were still the essence of heaven and earth and the power of the stars. Su Fong's world, on the other hand, was to use the supreme great Tao of heaven. It turned all its vital energy and energy into a world that was outside of the real world. In Su Fang's world, there was nowhere to extract essence, and there was no way to borrow power. Eong Holy Man's understanding of the laws and control of the power of the world were also useless. Although Eong Holy Man did not lose all his strength in a short period of time, his strength was greatly reduced. Although he was not fatally injured by Su Fang's dozens of punches, the shock and humiliation in his heart was unbearable. Boom, boom, boom. Eong used all his strength. As expected of an advanced Dao realm cultivator, he finally broke free of the shackles of the essence world and broke free from Su Fang's world. However, after being beaten up by Su Fang, Eong Holy Man looked battered and exhausted. His breathing was chaotic and blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. His heart was filled with anger and his eyes were shooting flames of anger. The cultivators of the Sky Spill immortal realm were all dumbfounded. Su Fang's fame and his deeds in the Great War of the Immortals and Demons had already spread throughout the Great World. However, it was just a rumor, and it was inevitable that people would question it. Witnessing Su Fang beating a advanced Dao realm cultivator with a huge blow to everyone. Su Fang's strength has increased with Su Fang. Mu Xingfeng at this moment, there was only admiration. Su Fang was Mu Xingfeng. Eong Holy Man is Eong Holy Master. With a flip of Su Fang's right hand, the Xianming lightning scroll appeared in his hand, and an astonishing lightning-attributed divine might surged out. At this moment, Su Fang was like a thunder god that had descended upon the greater world, causing Eong Holy Man's heart to palpitate. There was also a terrifying feeling that his fate was locked. Eong Holy Master found it hard to escape. Could this be the punishment of the heavens? Eong Dao Master suddenly remembered that He Zun was punished by the heavens because he tried to search Su Fang's soul. He was shocked and completely cut off the idea of continuing to fight. If he continued to fight, he was afraid that he would repeat He Zun's mistake. I admit defeat. Although Eong Holy Master was unwilling, what could he do? In the end, he spat out these words from between his teeth. Su Fang said, "Since you admit defeat, then immediately fulfill your promise. Write a letter of apology and kneel in front of Senior Tianji's grave." Eong Holy Man hesitated. With his strength and status, how could he lower himself to do this? Whoosh! The immortal demon monster broke through the air and carried Honorable Immortal Yang Ju, who was like a dead dog. His primordial spirit was heavily injured by the second primordial spirit, and he had lost all resistance. Destroy his Jindan. Su Fang's second primordial spirit commanded in a voice filled with killing intent. Why don't we just kill him? The second primordial spirit said with killing intent. Honorable Immortal Yang Ju was shocked, and he threatened. Su Fang, I am the leader of the Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect. If you dare destroy my Dao path, my sect will not let you go. Idiot! The second primordial spirit sneered. He flipped his right palm and pressed it against Honorable Immortal Yang Ju's abdomen. The power of the immortal demon fusion shot out and penetrated Honorable Immortal Yang Ju's dantian, shattering his aura's core. Honorable Immortal Yang Ju screamed in despair and pain and fainted. What a domineering and ruthless Su Fang. Eong Dao Master sucked in a breath of cold air, and his face turned pale. Su Fang looked at Eong Dao Master and said, "Seeing that you are a senior of the sect, I will leave you some face. You don't have to kneel and beg for forgiveness. However, you must write the sin forgiveness letter." "I will write it." Eong Dao Master gritted his teeth and took out a jade slip. He left his will in the jade slip and threw it to Su Fang. Su Fang released his will and scanned the jade slip. He nodded in satisfaction and said, "This is good. Knowing your mistakes and correcting them is the demeanor of an expert of the Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect." Eong Dao Master was so angry that his body trembled. He gritted his teeth and said, "Can I leave now?" Su Fang changed the topic and said, "I will keep this jade slip for now and will not announce it to the outside world. However, If someone wants to attack the sky spill immortal world in the future, I will immediately spread this jade slip across the entire world. What if other experts have designs on the profound solution of heaven's divination? No matter who it is, I will only recognize you. Eong Dao Master was so angry that he trembled again. Now, he had become a nanny of the sky spill immortal world. How could he not be angry? However, compared to losing his reputation, Eong Dao Master would rather be a nanny. Take Yangju and leave the sky spill immortal world. Su Fong summoned a surge of divine power and swept up the unconscious honorable immortal Yangju and flew towards Eong Dao Master. Eong Dao Master kept honorable immortal Yangju into his body and disappeared into nothingness without looking back. Brother Su, I can't thank you enough. Mu Xingfeng flew in front of Su Fong and clasped his fist toward Su Fong. Su Fong said, I am indebted to Senior Tianji, and we have killed demons together. We can be considered friends. There is no need to be so polite between friends. What are your plans from now on? I will first guard my master's tomb for 100 years. When the 100 years are up, I will make other plans. Perhaps I will join you. When that time comes, don't shut me out. If Brother Mu is by my side, I will definitely treat you as a friend. If that is the case, I will not disturb you. If you encounter any trouble, contact me directly. Even Eong Dao Master suffered such a great loss. Who would dare to find trouble with me? Mu Xingfeng shook his head and smiled bitterly. Mu Xingfeng, a prodigy of the past, had now fallen to the point of being protected by others. He could not help but feel a little upset. Goodbye. Su Fong turned and was about to leave. Mu Xingfeng suddenly said, Hold on. Before my master passed away, he asked me to pass something to you. Then, Mu Xingfeng threw out a rune talisman, and it flew into Su Fong's hand. What is this? It will not be too late to check it after Brother Su leaves the sky spill immortal world. I'll take my leave now. Su Fong was confused. He said goodbye to Mu Xingfeng and left the sky spill immortal world, rushing towards the frozen dream profound sky. The news of what happened in the sky spill immortal world quickly spread and caused a huge commotion. Honorable immortal Tianji was a supreme existence in the greater world. The treasures and resources he accumulated in his life were naturally astonishing. The most tempting treasure was naturally the sky spill mystic solution. After the death of Honorable Immortal Tianji, many cultivators like Eong Dao Man and Honorable Immortal Yangju had their eyes on the treasures and resources he left behind. However, they were afraid and did not dare to make a move for the time being. When the news of Su Fong crippling Honorable Immortal Yangju and defeating Honorable Eong Dao Man spread, those cultivators all gave up on the idea. Although the reputation of snatching Honorable Immortal Tianji's inheritance was not good, there were still many people who would take the risk. In the greater world, strength was king. Compared to precious treasures and resources, what was reputation? However, offending Su Fong because of this was a matter of life and death. Even if they obtained the treasures, with Su Fong's current reputation in the greater world, he only needed to give an order, and any cultivator would have nowhere to hide in the greater world, unless they escaped to the demon realm. Although the treasures were good, they still needed to be alive to enjoy them. Those cultivators who coveted Honorable Immortal Tianji's inheritance completely put away their unrealistic thoughts. Extraterrestrial space-time. Far away from the great world, there was almost no matter in the outer space. Natural destructive power was everywhere. In the outer realm, snowflakes fluttered in the sky. Dense ice cubes floated in the void, as well as huge icebergs condensed from ice and snow. If a sane immortal realm cultivator were to enter such a cold world for a long time, they would eventually be frozen into an ice sculpture if their true chi was exhausted. Only immortal venerables were able to travel through space and time, but it was definitely not easy. Few a peach pit-shaped flying boat, more than 100 feet long, shuttled through the boundless ice and snow. The flying boat was covered in dense, immortal marks, which formed a powerful formation that blocked the ice and cold chi outside, making it difficult for them to enter the flying boat. The flying boat blended into the world like a big fish swimming in the water. It shuttled freely through the ice and snow, its speed as fast as lightning. Only when it encountered a huge iceberg would the flying boat have to take a detour. The owner of the flying boat was Su Fong. After leaving the Sky Spill immortal world, Su Fong had to use this flying boat magic treasure for the rest of the journey, because there was no spatial formation. Su Fong's destination this time was Ice Dream Profound Sky, so he had naturally made sufficient preparations before leaving. This flying ship was something he had prepared beforehand. The flying boat was not an ordinary magic treasure, but a King Grey Dao artifact. Su Fong bought it from the Great Star Hall before leaving the Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect. It was very suitable for shuttling through the ice and snow space. In a flying boat, Bai Ling and Yu Miaomei were playing and chasing each other. Their laughter was endless, and they were very happy. Su Fong was sitting cross-legged in the cabin, holding a rune talisman in his hand. It was the one left to Su Fong by immortal Elder Tianji before his death. I wonder what senior heavenly secrets left for me. Su Fong's heart was filled with curiosity and anticipation. When he activated the rune talisman, a lot of true text emerged in his mind. Moreover, they were ethereal and mysterious. Heaven's divination solution? After deciphering a part of the true text, Su Fong could not help but be shocked. =_ our download address. Mobile reading, bibliographic review. Chapter 1649. The Jade Scroll left behind by the Heavenly Fate Immortal Elder was the heavenly divination solution that Young Holy Man wanted. Wu Little said, the Heavenly Fate Immortal Elder's great Tao of Heavenly Fate was famous in the greater world, and it all came from the heavenly divination solution. Furthermore, the heavenly divination solution was not only useful for the cultivation of the great path of heavenly secrets, but also for other great paths. This was also the reason why Young Holy Man wanted to snatch the heavenly divination solution from Mu Xingfeng despite his status. Who would have thought, before the Heavenly Fate Immortal Elder died, he had left the heavenly divination solution to Su Fong. Su Fong, at the end of the true scripture, there is a primordial spirit shadow of the Heavenly Fate Immortal Elder sealed. It was lifelike and revealed a kind smile. His deep eyes were filled with wisdom that could see through everything. Originally, I was about to die, to be able to witness the immortal Tao world of void destruction, and to be able to witness a peerless figure like you and the continuation of the immortal Tao. Because of you, I am deeply gratified and have no regrets. I have already seen through life and death. The only thing I am worried about is the heavenly divination solution. Although Mu Xingfeng is talented, the heavenly divination solution is so profound and vast that even I have only scratched the surface. It will be even more difficult for him to cultivate the true essence of it. His future achievements will at most reach my level, and it will be difficult for him to surpass me. The heavenly divination solution is a great fortune that I obtained by accident when I was young. It contains shocking power and was not created by a greater world cultivator. It is a supreme abhijna from the myriad worlds. If the inheritance is cut off because of me, I will die with regrets. From you, this old man can see hope. This old man has used the heaven's divination unravel many times to deduce your fate, but what I have obtained is a stretch of nothingness. It is difficult for me to pry into your depths. From this old man can conclude that your future accomplishments will surpass this old man's. So this old man is unable to deduce anything. The so-called mysteries of heaven are the boundless mysteries of heaven and earth. The heavenly Tao was merciless, and cultivators were like ants. The secrets of the heavens are unfathomable, ethereal, and difficult to capture. However, the heavenly divination profundity can see through the ethereal heavenly Tao and find an opportunity for oneself to survive and become stronger. What you cultivate is the supreme heavenly Tao, and the mysterious solution of heaven and earth is a supreme divine ability that allows you to pry into the secrets of nature. It will be of great help to your cultivation. This old man will give you the heavens' spill mysterious solution. It will definitely be of help to you. This old man has spent my entire life trying to take that final step and become a true god. If I can lend you a hand, even if I die, I will have no regrets. Su Fong, that's all I have to say. If you can help Mu Xing Feng in the future, this old man will feel gratified. Immortal old man Tianji's primordial spirit flickered and turned blurry. It looked like it was about to dissipate. Thank you, Senior Tianji. Su Fong knelt down on both knees, bowing 3 times toward the nascent divinity shadow of immortal fate. Immortal old man Tianji had given Su Fong the heavenly divination mystic solution as if he was imparting the Tao to him. Su Fong bowed 3 times to thank him for his kindness. Immortal old man Tianji's primordial spirit shadow smiled faintly before disappearing without a trace. This demigod expert was an unparalleled existence in a great world. The final will he had left behind in the great world dissipated. Su Fong was silent for a long time. His heart was filled with frustration. Su Fong pondered for a moment and began to decipher the Tian, Yin, Xian, Jia 1. True characters with mysterious auras automatically entered the depths of the divine aperture's ocean. Among the countless true characters, some flickered with mysterious and resplendent golden light. Half of them were dark and gloomy. They were arranged in an incomparably mysterious way, forming a whirlpool where yin and yang intersected. This whirlpool was shockingly similar to Su Fong's yin-yang Dao wheel. It operated in a mysterious and unpredictable way. It gave Su Fong the feeling that the heavenly Tao was circulating and the secrets of heaven were unpredictable. Su Fong quickly discovered that some of these true characters were the divine abilities that immortal old man Tianji had comprehended during his cultivation. They were very easy to decipher. However, some of the true characters were incomparably mysterious. With Su Fong's current realm, it was impossible for him to obtain any information from them. The heavenly divination mystic solution. It was a supreme divine ability that could deduce the laws of the heavenly Tao and see through the secrets of heaven. It was different from the Tianji life shrinking technique. The heavenly divination mystic solution was a divine ability that could see through the mysterious nature of heaven and earth. However, the Tianji life shrinking technique was a supreme divine ability that could cut off one's own fate or seize and suppress the fate of others. However, the two were quite similar in some ways. For example, using the heavenly divination mystic solution to deduce the secrets of heaven. It had the astonishing ability to predict the cause and effect of things in advance and deduce the fate of cultivators. It contained the great Tao of karma and the illusory power of fate. The heavenly divination mystic solution removed the ability to deduce karma and fate. It also had the powerful ability to pry into the secrets of heaven. Every cultivator's cultivation was to constantly understand, use, and ultimately control the natural power and laws of heaven and earth. However, the heavenly Tao was so mysterious and unfathomable. Cultivators were so insignificant. How difficult was it to uncover the mysterious veil of the heavenly Tao and obtain the secrets of the heavenly Tao? The heavenly divination mystic solution had the ability to pry into the mysterious heavenly Tao. When cultivators cultivated the heavenly divination mystic solution, they could come into contact with the heavenly Tao on a deeper level. It could be imagined how useful it was to cultivators' cultivation. And Su Fong cultivated the 9 yang, 9 transformations, which was a kind of supreme heavenly Tao. The heavenly divination mystic solutions help to him was even more unimaginable. The heavenly divination mystic solution removed the ability to pry into the heavenly Tao and deduce karma and fate. When fighting with the enemy, it could also see the initiative and predict the enemy's next move in advance. The heavenly divination mystic solution is simply a divine ability that defies the heavens. I'm afraid it's not much different from the heavenly Tao life shrinking technique. Su Fong's heart was shaken. He felt a deep sense of respect and gratitude towards immortal Elder Tianji. After thinking for a while, Su Fong separated a young immortal and entered the red space of the origin sacred mirror. Su Fong was surprised to find that the young immortal could fly at a fast speed in the red space of the divine mirror. Although it was not as fast as flying swords, it was much faster than before. I don't know if I can enter the central space-time of the origin sacred mirror. If that's the case, as long as he could enter the central space-time, he could meet the mysterious woman and not communicate with her mind every time. In this way, he could dual cultivate with the woman and release the power of the origin sacred realm. Until now, Su Fong could only activate the mirror to absorb treasures and spiritual objects and release the 9 Yang True Fire. It could be used to suppress the big goblin and revive experts, but it could not be used to deal with cultivators. He was still far from truly releasing the power of the origin sacred mirror. Su Fong's heart thumped. The young immortal flew into the depths of the red ancient space. The deeper he went, the slower Su Fong's speed became. Later, he could not maintain his flying state and could only walk. In the end, he could no longer take a step forward. In front of him was still a deep and ancient space with no end in sight. He did not know how far away he was from the central space-time of the origin sacred mirror. Su Fong could not help but feel a little depressed. He had cultivated the 9 Yang 9 transformations to the 5th transformation, and his cultivation had reached the mid-stage of the Tao realm. His self-world had also begun to take shape, but in front of the origin sacred mirror, he was still so insignificant. "What? Are you discouraged?" The mysterious woman's voice faintly sounded. Su Fong respectfully said, "Senior, you haven't entered the origin sacred mirror for a long time. I didn't expect that in just a few hundred years, you would cultivate 48 Yang meridians. Your self-world cultivation has also reached the mid-stage of the Tao realm. I really did not misjudge you. It seems that you can walk independently on the path of cultivation." The mysterious woman's voice had a trace of praise, which made Su Fong's spirit rise. The mysterious woman lectured in the tone of an elder. "The origin sacred mirror is incomparably powerful, far beyond your imagination. It is definitely not that easy to control the origin sacred mirror. You have done well enough, so there is no need to be discouraged." "Yes, thank you for your teachings, Senior. However, your yin-yang world power is a god-level power. If you can cultivate the 9 Yang 9 transformations to the 6th transformation and exhaust all your Yang Qi, you can barely enter the central space-time of the origin sacred mirror. If you cultivate with me, which is dual cultivation, you will be able to release a portion of the origin sacred mirror's power." Su Fong was pleasantly surprised. The 6th transformation can activate the origin sacred mirror? Who knew that the mysterious woman's next words would be like a bucket of ice water poured over his head? "In that case, your Yang Qi and yin-yang world power will be instantly sucked dry. Your life will be in danger, and the loss to me will be unbearable. Unless it is a moment of life and death, don't even think about it." Su Fong was disappointed and smiled bitterly. "A moment of life and death? I am about to face a moment of life and death. You have mastered the heavens' secret life shrinking technique and a god-level ability like the great giant diamond body. In addition to your various true body abilities and the fact that you can transform yourself into a world, you will be able to protect yourself even against a demigod powerhouse. Moreover, you have such a master. Who in the great world can threaten you? A god from the Azura clan of the myriad realms. A god from the Azura clan? You really know how to cause trouble for yourself. You actually provoked the Azura clan. In the myriad realms, the Azura clan is an extremely powerful clan. However, they have declined and their clansmen are few. They rarely appear in the god realm. However, the Azura clan's power is extraordinary." The mysterious woman's voice fluctuated violently. Su Fong didn't expect that the mysterious woman would know about the Azura clan. Moreover, she seemed to be somewhat fearful of him. This greatly surprised him. Su Fong continued, "Master, the Jihong immortal sovereign, did promise to personally deal with this god. However, I speculate that although Master has this power, he will definitely be restricted in some way. He is willing to fight for you? The mysterious woman said faintly. Her voice carried a trace of ridicule, but there was also something else that Su Fong couldn't understand. If that Azura clan god attacks you, immediately enter the treasured mirror's space and tell me. After the mysterious woman finished speaking, she was about to disappear like before. Su Fong hurriedly said, "Senior, this junior has something to ask of you." "What's the matter?" "This junior has obtained a divine ability called the Heaven's Divination Mysterious Solution. I would like to ask Senior for guidance." =_ our download address. Mobile reading, bibliographic review. Chapter 1650. The mysterious woman's voice suddenly became agitated. Heaven's Divination Mystic Unraveling Technique. Her voice suddenly became excited. Heaven's Divination Mystic Unraveling Technique? In the outside world, there's actually a supreme divine ability like the Heaven's Divination Mysterious Solution? Su Fong didn't expect the mysterious woman to know about the Heaven's Divination Mysterious Solution, and even more so, he didn't expect her to have such a big reaction. In Su Fong's impression, the mysterious woman was not only mysterious and unfathomable, but she was also incomparably powerful. She always had a cold and indifferent attitude towards everything, so the Heaven's Divination Mysterious Solution actually caused her to have such a reaction. Su Fong was surprised. Senior also knows about the Heaven's Divination Mysterious Solution? The mysterious woman faintly said, "I once accidentally obtained a great fortune and obtained the Heaven's Secret Life Shrinking Technique, a supreme divine ability that contains fate. At the same time, I also obtained a handwritten letter from a supreme expert of the God Realm, which happened to have some records about the Heaven's Divination Mysterious Solution. I know that this divine ability is a supreme divine ability from ancient times, but later on, I don't know how it was lost. Today, even in the myriad of worlds, no one knows about this divine ability. The Great Tao of Heaven's Secrets is also a type of Great Tao, so there are many techniques and divine abilities that can pry into the secrets of heaven, but none of them are as powerful as described in the handwritten letter. According to my estimation, the Heaven's Divination Mysterious Solution and the Heaven's Secret Life Shrinking Technique should come from the same source and belong to the same level of supreme Tao techniques. Cultivating at the same time should have a complementary effect." The mysterious woman's words shocked Su Fongda. Heaven's Secret Life Shrinking Technique was an astonishing divine ability, and the Heaven's Divination Mysterious Solution was actually at the same level as the Heaven's Secret Life Shrinking Technique. He had clearly underestimated the Heaven's Divination Mysterious Solution before. Then, the mysterious woman said without any trace of politeness, "If I cultivate this Tao technique, it will definitely be of great help to my recovery. Pass the Heaven's Divination Mysterious Solution to me." Su Fong was stunned. The mysterious woman actually wanted the Heaven's Divination Mysterious Solution? Su Fong not only obtained the 9 Yang 9 transformations from the mysterious woman, but also the Heaven's Secret Life Shrinking Technique, Illusory Fire Cloud, and other divine abilities. She didn't expect to actually ask Su Fong for a cultivation technique this time, which made Su Fong very surprised. From this, it could be seen how amazing the Heaven's Divination Mysterious Solution was. With Su Fong's current strength, he could already be considered a peak master in a major world. However, he was still unable to do what the mysterious woman had done. Through 2 magic treasures and across 2 different worlds, he was still unable to send his spiritual sense into her mind. He could only send the true text of the profound solution of Heaven's divination into the depths of the divine mirror space. After the mysterious woman divination, mysterious divination, divination mysterious solution, mysterious solution, mysterious divination, mysterious mysterious solution, the divination mysterious mysterious solution for a long time. Su Fong still thought that she had disappeared like before, but who knew that another burst of cold air would surge out, and the mysterious woman's faint voice sounded again. "It really is the Heaven's Divination Solution. I didn't expect that such a heaven-defying ability would actually fall into the big world. Divination, divination, mysterious divination, divine, secret, mysterious, heaven, divination, 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 divination. TTS divination. Not revealing the heavens divination solution in front of others is to prevent others from coveting it. Why couldn't he easily use the heavens divination solution? Ah, I understand now. All-powerful supernatural powers have a fatal weakness. Activating the life shrinking technique will damage my fate wheel, and using the heavens divination solution to deduce the heavens secrets will definitely have a fatal limitation. That's right. Activating the heavens secret life shrinking technique will cause one to lose one's lifespan. According to my conjecture from the true text, using the heavens divination mysterious solution to pry into the heavens secret will cause one to suffer a backlash from the heavenly Tao and thus lose one's destiny. Look, have you ever seen any fortune tellers in the mortal world? What do these fortune tellers have in common? Su Fong was startled. After thinking for a while, he asked puzzledly, those fortune tellers, other than those swindlers who cheat money, most of the real fortune tellers are blind or have no children. But what does this have to do with the heavens divination solution? Of course it's related. The heavens secrets are unfathomable. How can the heavens secrets be pried by mortals? Those fortune tellers are precisely because they calculate the fate of others and peek into the faintly discernible heavens secrets. That's why they are punished by the heavens path. That's why they're blinded by the heavens path, or they're plagued by bad luck. Su Fong thought about it carefully. That was indeed the case. The mysterious woman continued. The heavens divination solution is a supreme, supernatural power that can pry into the heavens path. Compared to those fortune tellers' divination techniques, it's more than 10,000 times more powerful. Receiving the heavens path's punishment must be 10,000 times more terrifying. Even a cultivator would find it difficult to bear. Although you have the purple Chi Dharma spirit that brings you supreme luck, you can't use the heavens divination solution to deduce the heavens secrets that will like other supernatural powers. That will affect your cultivation and fate. It will also cause the purple Chi Dharma spirit to consume energy that is difficult to recover. Thank you, Senior, for your reminder. I understand. Continue to work hard. I hope you can step into the sixth transformation as soon as possible. That way, you and I can begin dual cultivation in the central space-time of the divine mirror. After the mysterious woman finished speaking, she didn't give Su Fong any chance to speak. Her voice gradually faded away until it was completely unknown where she went. Su Fong recalled the young immortal back into his body, leaving a blood clone outside. His main body entered the true dragon realm and used the time to rush to enter a state of cultivation. The 9 transformations was still Su Fong's main cultivation method. At this time, he was still trying to break through to the 49th Yang Meridian. There was still a big gap to step into the 6th transformation. However, the birth of a Yang Meridian not only required the accumulation of Yang energy, but also opportunities and fortuitous encounters. If he wanted to successfully birth more Yang Meridian, he had to constantly search for opportunities. Fortunately, Su Fong's luck had always been good. He was always able to find his own opportunities and fortuitous encounters in the midst of great danger. At this time, Su Fong's cultivation methods, in addition to the 9 transformations, the life shrinking technique, the ethereal truth, and the netherworld reincarnation technique, there was also the heavens divination solution. Fortunately, after he advanced to the mid-level of the Tao realm, he could condense more blood clones and cultivate these cultivation methods and supernatural powers at the same time. They would not interfere with each other and would advance together. The flying ship continued to shuttle through the vast snow and ice, heading in the direction of the frozen dream mystic sky. In the blink of an eye, about 10 years had passed. Su Fong flew out of the true dragon realm, walked out of the cabin, came to the deck, and transmitted his primordial spirit to Bai Ling. Sister Bai, are you interested in fighting with me? It turned out that after 10 years of pondering, Su Fong finally had a preliminary understanding of the part of the heavens divination solution that immortal Father Tianji had comprehended. He couldn't help but want to exchange pointers with Bai Ling. Phew, it's rare for brother to have such an interest. How can I not accompany you? Bai Ling's laughter had just sounded when Bai Ling flashed out like a bolt of lightning, drawing a strange trajectory in the air. The aura released by the power of chaos rushed straight at Su Fong. In the past, among the big goblin subordinates of Su Fong, the most powerful one was Bai Ling. She not only had the chaos ring, but also the power of chaos and the chaos mantra from the Lord of Chaos. She was not even as good as Su Fong. At this time, although Bai Ling had been betrayed by Su Fong, her strength was still very terrifying. The main reason was that in addition to the inheritance of the Lord of Chaos, the various resources for her cultivation were definitely the best among Su Fong's subordinates. It was impossible for her to not improve quickly. In addition, the Lord of Chaos was also quite extraordinary. Su Fong used to think that he was a peerless figure in the big world. After coming to the big world, he had not heard of the deeds of the Lord of Chaos. Su Fong guessed that the Lord of Chaos was most likely from the 10,000 worlds, or perhaps he had ascended to the 10,000 worlds a long time ago. Bai Ling's power seemed to violate the natural laws of heaven and earth. Her speed and attack were very strange, making any attack in front of her slow down by half a beat. Moreover, the aura released by the power of chaos could corrode the enemy's attack. Sister Bai, be careful. Heaven's secret, break all methods, Heaven's eye. Su Fong suddenly shouted coldly, and a misty and mysterious light suddenly burst out from his eyes. In an instant, in his eyes, Bai Ling's power of chaos attack, and even the nature of heaven and earth had no secret to speak of. As soon as Bai Ling's power of chaos attacked, Su Fong immediately knew her intentions, attack routes, and even some flaws in the attack. Chi, chi, chi. Su Fong flicked out a few streaks of sword chi, attacking Bai Ling's flaws. Bai Ling's body movements and attacks were immediately interrupted, and she became flustered. In this way, every fierce attack of Bai Ling's was resolved by Su Fong with the simplest attack. I don't want to fight anymore. It's really too boring to fight with you. Bai Ling was extremely depressed. She stopped angrily, and then went to the true dragon realm to find an expert to vent the depression in her heart. Su Fong chuckled mischievously, feeling very happy in his heart. In this fight, Su Fong and Bai Ling did not use their full strength, but Su Fong verified the extraordinariness of the Heaven's Divination mysterious solution. The Heaven's Eye was just the simplest divine ability that immortal elder Tian Ji comprehended from the Heaven's Divination mysterious solution. However, when fighting with the enemy, it had the advantage in every aspect and could also see through the flaws in the enemy's divine ability. It had a powerful and strange ability. After mastering this divine ability, Su Fong's combat strength increased by a large margin. Moreover, as long as Su Fong did not use the Heaven's Divination mysterious solution to pry into the secrets of heaven, he would not suffer a backlash from the heavenly Tao and could use the Heaven's Eye divine ability at will. Moreover, the abilities contained in the Heaven's Divination mysterious solution were far more than this. The Heaven's Eye was just the simplest ability. I'm going to see Xuanxin soon. Looking at the vast ice and snow outside the flying boat's barrier, Su Fong's heart was burning with anticipation. Immortal Elder Frost Dream forcibly accepted Xuanxin as a disciple, and she had ulterior motives. At this time, I have become famous in the great war of immortals and demons, so Immortal Elder Frost Dream must have heard of me. If she really has any disloyalty towards Xuanxin, maybe she will do something unfavorable to Xuanxin in advance. Thinking of this, Su Fong became a little nervous. After thinking for a while, Su Fong closed his eyes, and a large number of mysterious and unfathomable runes surged through his mind. After deciphering these runes, Su Fong's body emitted an unfathomable and mysterious aura. Su Fong had only just come into contact with the Heaven's Divination mysterious solution. At the same time, Su Fong also used the Heaven's Secret Life shrinking technique. Using the fate aura of Fairy Xuanxin as the source, he deduced the karma of Fairy Xuanxin's fate. equals underscore our download address. Mobile reading, bibliographic review. Chapter 1651. In the depths of Su Fang's mind, the yin and yang vortex formed by the gathering of true characters suddenly exploded with activity. Some true runes, either bright or dark, reflected the mysterious Xianguang, condensing into a phantom above the vortex. Although he could not see the face, Su Fang could recognize it as Fairy Xuanxin at a glance. The light and shadow around Fairy Xuanxin's phantom changed, flashing like flowing water, revealing some mysterious and profound information. Su Fang had only comprehended the mysterious solution of heaven's divination for 10 years, and could be considered to have just come into contact with this supreme ability. Originally, it was difficult to deduce the fate of others. With the help of the life-shrinking technique, he barely managed to condense Fairy Xuanxin's phantom, but it was difficult to clearly capture the information of her fate karma. However, Su Fang could see that there was a layer of bloody light around Fairy Xuanxin's phantom. This scene was what ordinary people called a bloody disaster. And from the information revealed by her fate karma, Su Fang could also capture vague but very real information. APMB Great Ominous. Su Fang's face turned pale. Peering into the secrets of heaven, deducing the fate of others, and activating the life-shrinking technique at the same time, it caused Su Fang's fate and life force to suffer a little loss, but it was insignificant. What made Su Fang like this was naturally because of Fairy Xuanxin. Xuanxin is in a very dangerous situation. Su Fang was extremely anxious. After forming a seal, the flying boat was pushed to the limit by him. Like a bolt of lightning, it tore through the seal of ice and snow and flew out of the ice and snow domain. About 3 months later, in this space, there were floating glaciers and ice walls everywhere. The sky was also covered in a frozen curtain of ice. The entire world seemed to be frozen. The natural power of ice shrouded heaven and earth. It was like a dreamlike world of ice and snow. All matter, energy, laws, and even time seemed to be frozen here. Here, the speed of the flying boat became very slow, and the barrier that defended against the cold air could not withstand the tide of cold air. It was frozen until it made cracking sounds and would not last long before it shattered. Su Fang simply put away the flying boat and was suddenly in the air of ice and snow. The terrifying power of ice quickly enveloped his body. Not only his flesh, but also his true qi and spirit were about to be frozen. If it were not for the fact that Su Fang cultivated the 9 yang, 9 transformations, which contained the power of yang in every part of his body, he would have been frozen into ice in an instant. Even with his middle stage Tao realm cultivation, he would also be injured. Once he was injured in this environment, it would be very troublesome. Su Fang released a pure yang divine power, quickly dispersing the cold air that had seeped into his body and around his body. Then, he activated the underworld's Samsara sword, releasing the divine power of Samsara, forming a protective divine power, breaking through the seal of the world's power and speeding up his journey. The most troublesome thing was not the power of the ice world, but the ice curtains, glaciers, and ice walls that were everywhere in the space, refracting the ever-changing, illusory scenes. It actually had the strange ability to make the spirit and consciousness produce illusions. If one was not careful, one would be lost in the endless world of ice and snow. Fortunately, the power of Su Fang's spirit was already very powerful, and with his second primordial spirit and perfect body, the illusory scenes did not cause too much trouble for Su Fang. As expected, a frozen dream profound sky. With the help of the environment here, Fairy Frozen Dream's ice divine abilities have increased by quite a bit. Her strength will definitely surpass the middle stage Tao realm. If she activates the heaven-sealing profound ice mirror, even peak high-stage Tao realm experts will be threatened. Not to mention, Fairy Frozen Dream's true strength is far beyond the middle stage Tao realm that outsiders know. Although Su Fang was worried about Fairy Xuanxin's safety, he did not dare to be careless and was on high alert at all times. A sea of ice appeared in the range of Su Fangda's perfect vision. The sea of ice was dark and gave off a majestic aura of extreme cold. In the center of the sea of ice was an iceberg that shook the heavens. Around the iceberg floated countless huge ice spikes of all shapes and sizes, forming an ice forest that covered an area of 10,000 miles. The larger icicles were like mountain peaks that pierced the sky, while the smaller ones were still several thousand feet tall. They were sparkling and translucent, flashing with sparkling brilliance as they floated and spun in the air. They looked chaotic, but in fact, they contained some kind of strange law. These countless icicles formed a huge and strange formation that protected the iceberg in the center. Frozen dream, profound sky. Su Fong came to the periphery of the ice forest and used Fairy Xuanxin's destiny aura as the source to use the heaven's secret life shrinking technique. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Even with the power of the formation and the thick glacier, it was difficult to block the detection of the heavenly secret life shrinking technique. Destiny Dao runes flashed around his divine aperture and condensed into Fairy Xuanxin's figure. Su Fong sensed that Fairy Xuanxin's aura was currently in the depths of the iceberg at the center of the ice forest. She was motionless, and her aura was a bit weak, but there were no other abnormalities. Good, Xuanxin is fine for now. Su Fong secretly heaved a sigh of relief. Then he sat down cross-legged on an icicle and swallowed the divine essence pill. Although Su Fong was very worried about Fairy Xuanxin's safety, he had entered Frozen Dream's lair, and she had a divine tool. Su Fong had to adjust himself to peak condition. At the bottom of the iceberg, there was an ice palace. Everything in the palace was created with ice god art. In the middle of a spacious room, there was an ice door about 10 feet in size floating in the air. The material used to create the ice door wasn't ordinary ice or stone. It was a divine ice attribute treasure that couldn't be found in a great world profound ice essence. There were divine runes engraved on the ice door that intertwined to form a lifelike divine bird with its wings spread. The strange thing was that the ice gate was firmly fused with the void, as if it was a portal that led to the outer space. On the ground directly in front of the ice gate, a white-clothed woman was sitting cross-legged on the ground. Her face was flawless, exuding a sacred, noble, and pure aura. Within this aura, there was a faint shadow of the ice phoenix divine bird lingering. Fairy Xuanxin. Her eyes were tightly shut as she continuously formed seals and released the aura of the ice phoenix, which fell into an ice mirror floating in front of her. The 1-foot-long ice mirror emitted an ancient aura. White xianguang constantly flashed on the surface of the mirror, creating an illusory scene. As the xianguang flickered, it absorbed Fairy Xuanxin's aura. PFFF, Fairy Xuanxin suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood and landed on the ice mirror with the shadow of an ice phoenix. In an instant, a mysterious cold aura shot out from behind the ice mirror and floated to the ice door. It was absorbed by the divine runes, and the divine bird pattern on the ice door immediately became more lively. Xuanxin Fairy's aura, however, instantly became sluggish. She stopped making hand seals and took a snow-white pill, recovering the ice phoenix aura on the ground. APMB at the same time. In another room of the ice palace, Fairy Frozen Dream was sitting cross-legged in the center of the room. She was surrounded by more than a dozen ice mirrors that were taller than a person. One of the ice mirrors was displaying Fairy Xuanxin's every move. The other scene displayed in the ice mirror was the ice forest outside the ice mountain. Xuanxin, I originally only wanted to borrow your ice phoenix true body to open the door to the secret realm for this noble one. I didn't want to take your life. At most, I'll take your ice phoenix blood essence, but at least I'll leave you alive. Maybe when this noble one obtains the inheritance left behind by a god in the secret realm, I'll make it up to you. You didn't hesitate to consume your ice phoenix origin and life force because you had no other choice. If you want to blame someone, you can only blame yourself for having Su Fong as your Dao companion. In less than 1,000 years, you were actually able to grow to such a terrifying extent. You were actually able to reverse the situation of the immortal demon war by yourself. Such a character makes this noble one have no choice but to fear. I had no choice but to hastily let you fuse with the heaven-sealing profound ice mirror. The moment you completely fuse with the heaven-sealing profound ice mirror will be the moment you die. It's truly a pity for the true body of the ice phoenix. However, in order to nurture you, this noble one has scoured the entire great world for the past several hundred years in search of top-notch ice attribute spiritual items. I even killed more than 10 great monsters with the bloodline of the divine phoenix to aid your cultivation. This is how you have reached your current cultivation realm. You sacrificing your life for this noble one is a matter of course. Fairy Frozen Dream stared at Fairy Xuanxin's figure in the ice mirror. Her eyes emitted a cold light as she muttered to herself. When this noble one obtains the inheritance in the secret realm, sooner or later, I will reach the peak of the great world and go to the end of the world to find that heartless person. After letting out a snort of laughter, Fairy Frozen Dream clenched her teeth and shifted her gaze to the center of the room. In this bone-chilling ice house, there was a 10-meter wide pool on the ground. What was strange was that not only was the pool water not frozen, it was instead boiling and emitting a scorching hot aura. There was a powerful barrier around the pool. If it weren't for this, the heat it emitted would be enough to melt the entire ice palace. When things reach an extreme, they can only move in the opposite direction. In a place as cold as this ice mountain, there was actually a pool of extreme yang energy. The world was truly wondrous. In the center of the pool, above the churning water, there was a 1-meter-long lotus floating. It had 7 blood-red petals, and a flame was burning in the center. No, that wasn't a flame, but rather a beating heart. It was like a burning flame, emitting a boundless divine might of fire. Looking at this strange heart, Fairy Frozen Dream's eyes suddenly shot out a cold and resentful gaze. Right at this moment, a sudden movement came from one of the ice mirrors. After the mirror trembled, a figure shuttling through the ice forest appeared. Su Fong? Fairy Frozen Dream revealed a surprised expression. She didn't think that Su Fong would come to the ice dream profound sky so quickly. Su Fong, if this was outside, this noble one might be afraid of you. I didn't think that you would actually come to the ice dream profound sky, since you dared to ruin this noble one's plans. Even if you have the strength of a demigod, you won't be able to escape this noble one's suppression. =our download address. Mobile reading, bibliography. Chapter 1652. Su Fong used 3 days to adjust himself to his best state, and then flew towards the ice mountain without hesitation. AP Buzz, suddenly, some Tao runes from the heaven's secret life, shrinking technique, appeared in his mind. I was discovered by Lady Frozen Dream so quickly. Su Fong analyzed the Tao runes and sneered. Someone had sensed his fate aura. Apart from Lady Frozen Dream, there could be no one else. Lady Frozen Dream, I made an agreement with you. Within 50,000 years, I would definitely come and pick up Xuanxin. Now that I'm here, why haven't you sent Xuanxin out yet? Su Fong shouted towards the ice mountain. Xuanxin is my disciple. Her departure is up to me to decide. What qualifications do you have to take her away? Su Fong, the ice dream profound sky does not welcome you. Leave. Lady Frozen Dream's cold voice came from the surrounding icicles. Su Fong said domineeringly, "You accepted Xuanxin as your disciple for another purpose. Do you think I don't know? I'm being polite to you because you nurtured Xuanxin. If you continue to persist in going about things the wrong way and have ideas about Xuanxin, don't blame me for being impolite. In my ice dream profound sky, you are not allowed to be arrogant. If you want to take Xuanxin away, you'll have to leave my ice dream profound sky first." As soon as Lady Frozen Dream's disdainful voice fell, the icicles around Su Fong suddenly shot out sparkling lights, interweaving into a flickering, illusory world. Then, an icy mist drifted out from the surroundings, causing the entire world to be shrouded in an ethereal and illusory divine might. An illusory formation? Su Fong's expression became grave. Within the great Tao of ice, besides the ability to freeze and freeze, there was another special ability, and that was to create illusions. With Su Fang's powerful primordial spirit and his heart as tough as iron, even a high-level Tao realm powerhouse who had cultivated the great Tao of ice to the extreme wouldn't be able to affect him in the slightest. However, Lady Frozen Dream was different. Since her name contained the two words Frost Dream, she was most proficient in creating illusions. Su Fang learned from the Grand Star Hall that Lady Frozen Dream had once created the Frost Dream space with her middle-level Tao realm strength. She had shackled the primordial spirit of a high-level Tao realm powerhouse in an endless dream, finally trapping the high-level Tao realm powerhouse to death. Moreover, this was Frozen Dream's lair, so how could Su Fang not be careful? Roar, roar, roar. The roars of vicious beasts came from the surrounding ice fog, causing the surrounding space to tremble. Su Fang's divine light changed. Although he knew this was an illusion, everything he sensed with his great perfection was incomparably real. His heart trembled with fear. Whoosh! A demonic shadow leapt out from the ice fog, bringing with it a monstrous monster aura and killing intent as it pounced towards Su Fang. This monster was shockingly an ancient ferocious ape dog. Chi! Su Fang's eyebrows furrowed. He activated his dragon subduing true body, and his right hand turned into a dragon claw, crushing the ape's head. Immediately, the ape's corpse turned into ice fog and disappeared without a trace. It really is an illusion, Su Fang sneered with disdain. At this time, countless vicious beasts rushed out from the ice fog, swallowing Su Fang like a tide. Boom, boom, boom. The vicious beasts crashed into Su Fang's body, but they didn't cause any damage to Su Fang. Instead, they directly passed through his body. Su Fang stepped forward step by step, allowing the transformed vicious beast to crash into his body. In the ice palace inside the ice mountain, seeing this scene through the ice mirror, Frozen Dream's old face revealed a smug sneer. If this senior's Frost Dream world was so easy to deal with, how could the senior immortals of the great world be so afraid of me? Su Fang, you're still a bit too inexperienced. Then, Frozen Dream suddenly formed a seal and released her aura. With a whoosh, it drilled into an ice mirror, turning into a shadow that was exactly the same as Frozen Dream's true body and disappeared from the mirror. Su Fang continued to advance, ignoring the attacks of the vicious beasts and getting closer and closer to the ice mountain. One figure after another shot out from the surrounding ice fog. It was actually a dozen or so identical Frozen Dream immortals. It was impossible to tell if they were real or not. These dozen or so Frozen Dream immortals erupted with an aura that could freeze all power and laws, enveloping Su Fang. It's not an illusion technique, but a real attack. Among them was a Frozen Dream immortal. Although the aura it erupted with was the same as the others, it wasn't an illusion, but a real existence. The divine ability it used was also a real ice attribute divine ability. Ka. Su Fang didn't have time to use any divine ability before a thick layer of ice condensed in the surrounding space. Even his body, meridians, flesh, and blood, and true chi were all frozen, making it difficult for him to circulate his true chi and use any divine ability. Su Fang, even if your strength is heaven-defying, since you dare to come to the senior's Frost Dream Mystic Sky, you won't be able to escape the fate of being suppressed by this senior. What this senior hates the most is men. All men who come to Frost Dream Mystic Sky must die. Hand over your life. The real Frozen Dream immortal let out a cold shout filled with killing intent and then grabbed at the air. The surrounding ice fog quickly condensed into an ice sword that shot towards Su Fang. Suddenly, Su Fang smiled coldly, and a sun-like divine light suddenly ignited in the depths of his eyes. Following this, two golden rays of light shot out and twisted together, turning into a dazzling sun god's arrow. It erupted with a terrifying divine might that could melt all cold and evil energy, causing the surrounding ice to immediately melt. The divine might that seemed to have sealed the world in ice disappeared, and the illusory images of a mortal Frozen Dream also turned into mist and dissipated, leaving behind only the real, immortal Frozen Dream. Chi, the sun god's arrow collided with Frozen Dream's ice sword, instantly evaporating the ice sword and shooting towards Frozen Dream Immortal with an unstoppable momentum. Such divine might, it can even threaten this senior. It's more than 100 times stronger than before. Frozen Dream Immortal's divine light instantly changed. In the square heaven great world, she had experienced the might of the sun god's arrow released by the dragon bird. Although it made her feel apprehensive, it wasn't to the extent of being afraid. At this time, the sun god's arrow released by Su Fang's eyes had the same aura as the dragon bird, but it was more than 100 times stronger and purer. This made Frozen Dream Immortal no longer feel apprehension, but dread. Frozen Dream Immortal teleported away, disappearing into the icy fog. But who would have thought that the sun god's arrow would chase after her like a bolt of lightning? It shot through her back and out her chest, creating a bowl-sized hole in her body. Moreover, the terrifying flames of the sun were still burning her body. Su Fang, even if I die, I won't let you off. Frozen Dream Immortal screamed out in anger and unwillingness. Then, without another sound, she had been killed by the dragon bird's sun god's arrow. The surrounding icy fog rapidly dissipated and everything returned to normal. Su Fang discovered that he was still in the ice forest, extremely far away from the ice mountain. The Frozen Dream world created by Frozen Dream Immortal made Su Fang feel as if he had reached perfection. In the ice palace at the bottom of the ice mountain, Frozen Dream Immortal's avatar was killed. Her body shook and her complexion rapidly aged. Su Fang shuttled through the ice forest and landed on the ice mountain. What happened next was surprisingly smooth. Su Fang soon found the place where Fairy Xuanxin was shackled and took her away from Frozen Dream Mystic Heavens. Afterwards, the two returned to the Heavens Mandate Bright Firmament sect. They lived together, had children, and began to live a simple but very loving life. Time flew by, the sea turned into mulberry fields, the two of them gradually grew old. And happened in the ice palace. An ice mirror displayed the scene of Su Fang standing in the ice forest, motionless. His expression was lifeless, as if he had lost his primordial spirit. Looking at Su Fang in the ice mirror, Frozen Dream's deep eyes exuded a cold light. She proudly said, "Su Fang, although you killed one of my avatars, you fell into my Frozen Dream world. Exchanging an avatar for the life of the #1 genius of a great world, the spiritual leader of the immortal Tao world. This is worth it. I originally planned to let you spend the rest of your life in the Frozen Dream world, but in order to not let Xuanxin discover any clues, and because you have endless heaven-defying abilities and methods, I will personally kill you. Only then will I feel at ease." Frozen Dream stood up and walked towards the ice mirror. She directly stepped into the mirror and disappeared without a trace. When Frozen Dream reappeared, she came to the ice forest outside the ice mountain and went straight for Su Fang. "Go to hell." Frozen Dream let out a cold and desolate voice. She stretched out her right palm and ruthlessly slammed down on Su Fang's head, wanting to directly kill Su Fang. "The one who will die is you." Su Fang's primordial spirit suddenly spoke, startling Frozen Dream. Puff! First, a terrifying flame divine might surged out from Su Fang's body, like a monstrous wave in stagnant water. Immediately after, Su Fang suddenly opened his eyes and spat out a white flame from his mouth that enveloped Frozen Dream. "You aren't affected by the Frozen Dream world. How is this possible?" "Ah, what kind of flame is this? It's actually so tyrannical." The incomparably tyrannical 9 suns' immortal flames burned, incinerating Frozen Dream's aura. Then, her body was like a block of ice in a blazing inferno, emitting white smoke under the divine might of the 9 suns' immortal flames. The Frozen Dream world, created by Frozen Dream, was truly endlessly changing. Even Su Fang had nearly fallen into it. Fortunately, Su Fang had grasped the mysterious solution of heaven's divination, the heaven prying eye. The mysterious solution of heaven's divination could even see through the secrets of the world. Although Frozen Dream's dreamland was formidable, how could it possibly cause Su Fong's primordial spirit to lose its consciousness? Su Fong pretended to fall into a dreamland, unable to extricate himself. He wanted to draw Frozen Dream out of her lair. Su Fong had pure yang divine might and the 9 celestial fire of the 9 suns, which was a lethal counter to ice elemental great Tao mystical abilities. He released the 9 celestial fire of the 9 suns unexpectedly, and it was indeed effective. Just as he was about to unleash a divine ability to suppress Frozen Dream, a voice suddenly rang out. Hua hua hua. As Frozen Dream was being burned by the 9 suns' immortal flames, her body suddenly shattered. An astonishing power erupted, suppressing the divine might of the 9 suns' immortal flames and extinguishing them. Frozen Dream's aura was no longer at the middle level of the Tao realm, but at the peak of the high level of the Tao realm. As for her body, it was no longer in a corporeal state. Rather, it was a person of water formed from flowing water. Novels and novels equals _ our download address. Mobile reading. Book review. Chapter 1653. And Appin Chapter 1672. Fairy Xuanxin's great opportunity mistress Frozen Dream had turned into a person made of water. This wasn't the ability of a cultivator's true body, but Lady Frozen Dream's true body, a spirit body with a faint demonic aura. The spirit race was very mysterious. They were different from the monster race. Although they were also monsters, they didn't have much demonic aura. Instead, they were monsters formed from the spiritual energy of heaven and earth by absorbing essence. Su Fong was no stranger to the spirit race. Dai Yi was a spirit body. The spirit race was not only mysterious, but also very rare. Su Fong had never heard of a spirit body that could grow to the peak of the high order of the Tao realm like Lady Frozen Dream. Su Fong, you're truly worthy of being the peerless genius who saved the immortal Tao realm. You actually forced me to this point. Besides demigods, no other cultivator in the great world has been able to force me to reveal my true body. You are the first. After Fairy Frozen Dream transformed into her spirit body, her appearance was no longer that of an old woman, but that of a young woman. Her entire body flickered with a watery light, giving off a strange sense of beauty and a vast and surging aura. Her voice was no longer as cold as before. It was very pleasant to listen to and filled with spirituality. However, the killing intent in her voice increased instead of decreasing. No wonder you are so mysterious. Even the Grand Star Hall couldn't find out about you. So you are a water spirit body, and you have the strength of a peak high order of the Tao realm. However, so what if you have the strength of a peak high order of the Tao realm? Lord of the Demon realm, I have fought against demigods and even killed peak Tao realm experts. Why would I be afraid of you? Hand over Xuanxin, or I will suppress you. Su Fong revealed a domineering aura. He indeed had the qualifications to be domineering. With his current strength, his second primordial spirit, and demon sovereign barbaric god, he was already a peerless figure standing at the peak of the great world. In the great world, only demigods could make him feel apprehensive. Suppress this deity? You really are arrogant. I'm not like those peak experts of your immortal Tao. Not only can you not suppress me, you'll be suppressed by me instead. Fairy Frozen Dream disdainfully sneered. Walala, Fairy Frozen Dream's arms suddenly shook, and a surge of water element divine might swept out in all directions. The surrounding icicles and blocks of ice, as well as the ice curtain in the sky, quickly melted. Even the iceberg shattered layer by layer and melted into melted snow. The ice sea below also roared and began to gather around Frozen Dream. She had actually used the innate ability of her water spirit body, turning the surrounding 10,000 miles into a world of water. Fairy Xuanxin and the mysterious door in front of her, as well as the ice mirror and the pool, were all revealed. Xuanxin. Su Fong could see that Fairy Xuanxin's current cultivation had actually reached the peak of the 9th Tao Saint Immortal Realm. He couldn't help being shocked. During the Tao Disciple competition, Fairy Xuanxin's cultivation had only reached the third Dao Saint immortal realm. However, Fairy Xuanxin's current aura was extremely weak. Adding on the mysterious door, Su Fong could faintly guess Fairy Frozen Dream's intentions. He couldn't help but worry for Fairy Xuanxin. Su Fong. Fairy Xuanxin also saw Su Fong and was immediately pleasantly surprised. However, a mysterious aura spread out from the door with the image of a divine bird, shackling Fairy Xuanxin and making it difficult for her to move. It was this mysterious aura that had blinded Fairy Xuanxin's senses of the outside world. Otherwise, Su Fong's lightning punishment doppelganger would have been sensed as soon as Su Fong's main body came to Frozen Dream, Profound Heaven. Fairy Frozen Dream, what did you do to Xuanxin? Su Fong's eyes burned with fury, and he let out a thunderous roar. Fairy Frozen Dream said indifferently, "Could it be that you still can't see? I want to use her Ice Phoenix True Body's ability to fuse with the heaven-sealing profound ice mirror to open a passage and enter the secret realm left behind by the god in the outside world." Su Fong clenched his teeth and said, "Xuanxin is only in the sane immortal realm. How can she fuse with a divine tool? You are clearly sacrificing Xuanxin's Ice Phoenix True Body to activate the divine tool. Even if the passage door is opened, even if she doesn't die, her vitality will be greatly injured. Fairy Frozen Dream, you are truly vicious. Originally, I planned to carefully cultivate her for 100,000 years and help her reach the Tao realm. This way, not only will I have full confidence in opening the passageway and entering the Tao realm of the gods, but she will also not suffer too much damage. However, your growth is too fast, and you have doubts about me, forcing me to carry out my plan in advance and have no choice but to make her sacrifice." Fairy Frozen Dream coldly smiled, her beautiful face revealing a callous and cruel expression. Hua! Fairy Frozen Dream's body suddenly shattered and merged with the surrounding ocean. Boom! 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 The vast ocean roared, forming a huge whirlpool that spanned over 10,000 miles, setting off violent winds and waves that reached the heavens. The terrifying aura forced Su Fong to fly into the sky. In the sky, Su Fong saw Fairy Xuanxin, the door, the pool, and other places where the ice palace used to be surrounded by the whirlpool. Fairy Frozen Dream used a divine ability to create a huge bubble to envelop the surroundings. The bubble continued to shrink, pressuring Xuanxin to release the power of her Ice Phoenix True Body. Her life aura and primordial spirit were also absorbed by the heaven-sealing profound ice mirror. Fairy Frozen Dream actually used a divine ability to force out Xuanxin's aura and power to activate the heaven-sealing profound ice mirror. After the heaven-sealing profound ice mirror absorbed Xuanxin's aura and power, it emitted a mysterious cold chi that was swallowed up by the divine patterns on the ice door like a sponge absorbing water. The divine bird diagram became more and more lively, the Xian Guang flashing and spreading its wings as if it wanted to fly. The mysterious ice door also opened bit by bit, releasing a sacred and incomparably cold light. Fairy Frozen Dream, you're courting death. Su Fong roared and charged into the whirlpool. Inside the world of water, Su Fong immediately felt an astonishing power of water. Surging shackles and pressure came from all directions, making him bear a huge pressure. Su Fong was like a leaf in the middle of a stormy sea. His muscles and bones, under the immense pressure, crackled and popped, as if they would fall apart at any moment. His skin cracked open one after another, blood seeping out. Boom! 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 Waves of monstrous waves surged from the whirlpool, crashing onto Su Fong's body with the momentum of stormy waves crashing onto the shore. And the huge impact caused Su Fong to spit out a mouthful of blood. His body was sent flying, drifting along the waves of the whirlpool. The all-pervasive power of water and the power of laws rushed into his body, recklessly sweeping through his meridians and flesh. Su Fong. When Fairy Xuanxin saw this, she couldn't help but feel anxious. However, she was shackled by the ice door's aura and surrounded by bubbles, so she couldn't do anything. What terrifying might of water! After Fairy Frost's dream transformed into her true body, her strength is more terrifying than any peak Dao realm powerhouses. Even my second primordial spirit and demon sovereign barbarian god won't be able to do much. Su Fong was shocked. He immediately circulated all the true qi and strength in his body. After it was absorbed by the world tree, it erupted with the might of the world of yin and yang, fusing with his body, turning him into a world. In a split second, Su Fong turned into a world of nothingness, covering an area of 1,000 feet. All matter, power, and laws in this area no longer belonged to the world, but were controlled by Su Fong. Then, Su Fong rushed straight to the bottom of the whirlpool. What kind of divine ability is this? Fairy Frost's dream's surprised voice came from the roaring waves. Immediately after, Fairy Frost's dream sneered disdainfully. Under my might, all divine abilities will collapse. Boom, boom, boom. Fairy Frost's dream controlled wave after wave of stormy waves, vast and turbulent, endlessly attacking Su Fong's world. Su Fong's world couldn't hold on for much longer and shattered layer by layer. Su Fong withdrew the might of the world and then rose up against the heavens, breaking away from the shackles of the whirlpool. Fairy Frost's dream's cold laughter came from the giant whirlpool. Xuanxin, did you see that? I told you again and again that the men of this world can't be trusted. When they encounter danger, they only know how to run for their lives. Why would they care about the life and death of a woman? You've never loved, so how do you know? Fairy Xuanxin faintly smiled. She looked extremely weak, but she still maintained her calm. Unexpectedly, Fairy Frost's dream was like an old cat whose tail had been stepped on. She angrily roared. If it wasn't for a cultivator, I would have already broken through the shackles of the great world tens of thousands of years ago and gone to the myriad worlds. I want to obtain the inheritance of a god and then go to the god realm to find that heartless person to settle accounts. Fairy Xuanxin was startled. Even Su Fong, who was in the air, was startled. He hadn't thought that an old monster like Mistress Frozen Dream would have such a past. Dai Yi and Ao Tianchong Hen, Fairy Frost Dream, and a cultivator. Between the spirit race and a cultivator, there won't be a good ending, Su Fong sighed in his heart. The next moment, he flipped his right hand, and the Origin Sacred Mirror appeared in his palm. I don't care what kind of shocking story you have. It has nothing to do with me. You dare to attack my Dao companion, Su Fong? No matter who you are, I will mercilessly suppress you. If Fairy Frost Dream was a cultivator, Su Fong wouldn't be able to do anything to her. However, she was a spirit body, so the Origin Sacred Mirror could be used. What kind of Dao tool is that? Without waiting for Su Fong to pour his 9-yang true qi into the Origin Sacred Mirror, Fairy Frozen Dream sensed the terrifying aura of the Divine Mirror and was immediately shocked. Fairy Xuanxin suddenly transmitted her soul. Su Fong, wait. Su Fong was startled. What's wrong? Fairy Xianxin said, Immortal Mistress Frozen Dream wants to use my Ice Phoenix true body, but for me, it's a great opportunity. Opportunity? How could it be an opportunity? Su Fong, don't forget that I dual cultivated with you and was tainted with your supreme luck. There's also the auspicious aura of the dragon and phoenix, so I naturally have great luck and great opportunities. However, the greater the opportunity, the greater the risk. This time, although it seems dangerous, it is actually a great opportunity for me. Su Fong was completely confused. =our download address. Mobile reading. Bibliographic review. Chapter 1654. After Fairy Xuanxin and Su Fong had a conversation through their primordial spirits, Su Fong was greatly shocked. So it turned out, ever since the Dao Disciple competition, Lady Frozen Dream had expended all of her efforts and countless top-notch spirit items and resources to nurture Fairy Xuanxin. She had even expended her own true qi to help Fairy Xuanxin cultivate. Fairy Xuanxin's cultivation talent had always been extraordinary. With the addition of her Ice Phoenix true body and Lady Frozen Dream's help, her cultivation had rapidly risen from the 3 Dao Saint Immortal realm to the peak of the 9 Dao Saint Immortal realm in just a few hundred years. With such a degree, it could not be said that it was not shocking. However, with Fairy Xuanxin's current cultivation, it was far from enough to use a divine tool like the heaven-sealing profound ice mirror. During the Great Immortal Demon War, Su Fang had created one miracle after another. When Lady Frozen Dream learned of this, she felt a great threat. She knew that Su Fang would come sooner or later, so she had Fairy Xuanxin fuse with the heaven-sealing profound ice mirror to open the door to the deity's doubt disciple secret realm without any regard for the consequences. Fairy Xuanxin could not disobey Lady Frozen Dream's orders, so she had no choice but to do as Lady Frozen Dream said. Even though Lady Frozen Dream had racked her brains, there was one thing that she would never have thought of. During the Dao Disciple competition, Fairy Xuanxin's primordial spirit had been injured by Xiao Zhaoyan's sneak attack. Su Fang had given the Dark Valley Origin Bead to Fairy Xuanxin for her to heal. The Dark Valley Origin Bead was a supreme primordial spirit-type magic treasure of the Great Immortal Realm. Under the effects of the Origin Bead, not only did Fairy Xuanxin's primordial spirit quickly heal, the power of her primordial spirit increased even faster than her cultivation. Moreover, after fusing with the heaven-sealing mysterious ice mirror, Fairy Xuanxin sensed some vague information from this divine artifact. This information had an incomparably powerful seal, and only Fairy Xuanxin, who had fused with the Ice Phoenix's blood essence, could sense it. Even with Fairy Frozen Dream's formidable strength and the countless years she had spent in the heaven-sealing profound ice mirror, it was still difficult for her to sense anything from it. From the information he obtained, the heaven-sealing profound ice mirror was not only a divine artifact, but it also came from a powerful faction in the myriad worlds. Apart from being used to attack, it also represented the identity of that faction's disciple, and there was a terrifying divine power sealed within it. Fairy Xuanxin also borrowed the Dark Valley Vital Pearl's powerful primordial spirit's divine power and the heaven-sealing Xian Ice Mirror's divine power. She could faintly sense that the space that the ice door led to was not some Taoist field or secret realm left behind by a deity, but a distant and mysterious space-time. By activating the divine power sealed within the heaven-sealing profound ice mirror, one could open the ice door and go to that mysterious space-time. With a divine artifact as a token representing one's identity and divine power sealed within it, it was not difficult to guess where the mysterious space-time led to through the ice door was. The heavenly realm, the celestial realm, the place that the ice door leads to is actually the divine realm. Hearing Fairy Xuanxin's words, Su Fang's heart was indescribably shocked, simply unable to believe it. Su Fang, my senses are not wrong, so I want to take a gamble. Fairy Xuanxin's primordial spirit's voice was filled with incomparable decisiveness and decisiveness. Su Fang flatly said, "No, just based on vague information and your conjecture is too risky. The path of cultivation, how can there be no risks? You could take risks again and again, even risking your life for me. Do you think that I, Xuanxin, am some kind of golden branch and jade leaf that can't bear to see the wind and rain?" Unexpectedly, Fairy Xuanxin was incomparably resolute this time. "Su Fang, you have ambition, boldness, talent, and luck, so you were able to ascend from a small world and grow to the point you are today, becoming a peerless figure in the great world. I, Xuanxin, do not have your ambition and boldness. I am willing to be your woman for the rest of my life and be protected by you. However, the world is changing again and again, and the catastrophe is coming. How can you protect me? I can only be your burden and burden. Do you still remember what I said to you before? I don't want to be your burden, and I don't want to be your vase. I, Xuanxin, have talent and opportunity. I can't be left behind by you. I must keep up with your footsteps and become your powerful support, not your burden or vase. Therefore, I will never let go of this opportunity." Fairy Xuanxin showed a heroic spirit that many men didn't have. Her strong belief shocked Su Fong. But Su Fong hesitated for a while. He could stop Fairy Xuanxin, and Fairy Xuanxin would certainly comply with his wishes. However, Fairy Xuanxin had her own beliefs and dreams. What was the point of forcing her to stay by his side? Fairy Xuanxin suddenly smiled. Su Fong, you aren't worried that I will surpass you and make you lose face, are you? Su Fong was speechless. Just as Fairy Xuanxin and Su Fong were communicating with their primordial spirits, the divine bird pattern on the ice door became even more lively, as if it would spread its wings and fly away at any moment. The ice door made a ka-ka-ka sound, as if it was about to open. The entrance to the secret realm of the deity's Tao field is about to be opened. Just a little bit more. Fairy Frozen Dream was very excited. She didn't hesitate to urge her divine power, and a surging divine power of water erupted from the whirlpool, suppressing the bubble that was shackling Fairy Xuanxin from all directions. Puffed. Fairy Xuanxin suddenly spat out a large mouthful of blood, and her aura suddenly weakened to the extreme. Fairy Frozen Dream, if I don't kill you this time, I, Su Fong, swear that I am not human. Su Fong let out an angry roar, and the 9-yang Zhen Qi in his body crazily revolved, about to urge the Origin's sacred mirror to kill Fairy Frozen Dream in one fell swoop. All of a sudden, the blood that Fairy Xuanxin spat out landed on the heaven-sealing profound ice mirror, and the profound ice mirror released a terrifying divine power of ice, bombarding the ice door. The divine bird pattern on the ice gate suddenly let out a cry that shook the heavens and earth. Then it flew out from the ice gate and circled around once before floating in front of the ice gate. It was like a divine beast had descended, majestic and awe-inspiring, exuding a supreme, sacred, and noble aura. Boom! The ice door was opened with a loud bang. A dazzling white light was released from the ice door, making it difficult to see what was inside. Fairy Xuanxin stared at the ice door, her eyes filled with incomparable nervousness, but also incomparable excitement and expectation. That is this lord's inheritance. Fairy Frozen Dream's scream came from the whirlpool, and then her main body quickly condensed from the sea and rushed towards Fairy Xuanxin. After losing Frozen Dream's control, the huge whirlpool immediately collapsed and surged in all directions, setting off waves after waves of turbulent waves. After more than 10 million years, this lord has finally opened this door. Fairy Frozen Dream passed through the bubble-like barrier and looked at the opened ice door with an excited expression, and her eyes flickered with a hale and hearty light. Feng Mingtian, you once used all your methods to open the god's inheritance, but it has finally been opened by me. As long as I obtain the god's inheritance, I will be able to break through the shackles of the great world and enter the god realm. When I find a heartless person like you, I will pull out your tendons, peel off your skin, and grind your bones to dust. After Fairy Frozen Dream gnashed her teeth for a moment, she rushed towards the ice gate without hesitation. Just as she approached the ice door, boom, an incomparably powerful aura filled with divinity swept out from the ice door. Even though Fairy Frost Dream's cultivation had reached the peak of the Tao realm, she was like a drop of water in front of this aura. Her body immediately collapsed and turned into a splash of water that swept back, smashing through the bubble barrier and sending her flying dozens of miles away. Hua, Fairy Frozen Dream had a water spirit body, so although her body was shattered, she quickly reformed a new one. However, her current aura was dispirited and she looked like she was seriously injured. Her eyes were filled with shock, surprise, alarm, and unwillingness. The aura released from the ice door instantly enveloped Fairy Xuanxin. This aura was a disaster for Fairy Frozen Dream, but for Fairy Xuanxin, it was like a good rain. The aura contained a strange baptismal power, causing the ice phoenix power, true qi, primordial spirit, and life force that Xuanxin Fairy had just consumed to return to normal in just a few breaths. Moreover, it continued to rise, surpassing the peak of the Tao realm and entering the initial stage of the Tao realm. How could it be like this? How can this be? I spent 10 million years and used all my blood and sweat to open the secret realm inheritance. How can it fall into Xuanxin's hands? I'm not willing. In order to open the ice gate and obtain the inheritance of the god within, Fairy Frost Dream had spent 10 million years and countless amounts of energy. Just as she was about to succeed, such an accident had occurred, causing her to feel as if she had fallen from the clouds into a mud pit. 10 million years of blood and sweat had gone down the drain. How could she be willing? Wah! Fairy Frozen Dream turned into a surging stream of water that swept towards Fairy Xuanxin. She actually planned to kill Fairy Xuanxin and then enter the ice door. Suddenly, boom! An incomparably powerful aura suddenly descended from the ice gate, fusing with the divine bird. The originally lifeless divine bird suddenly opened its eyes, and a supreme aura spontaneously rose up, as if it was looking down on the world. The divine bird flapped its wings, setting off a storm that sent Fairy Frozen Dream flying again. This time, her injuries were even more serious. It was like a dragonfly trying to shake the tree. It smashed its head until it bled, but the tree remained motionless. Seeing this scene, Su Fong was also shocked. The 9 yang true qi in his body circulated at full force, ready to activate the power of the origin sacred mirror at any time to destroy the divine bird and the ice door. Who are you? You can actually fuse with the trial token and open the teleportation gate to return to the sect. The divine bird's eyes flashed with indifference and landed on Xian Xin Fairy's body. A voice that seemed to come from another world came out of its mouth. Su Fong, Fairy Xuanxin, and Fairy Frozen Dream were all confused. They didn't know what was going on, but they felt that it was amazing. Under the supreme divine might, Fairy Xuanxin raised her head with difficulty and said, "Senior, may I ask who you are, and what sect is your sect from?" =_ our download address. Mobile reading, bibliography. Chapter 1655. Looks like you accidentally opened it. Seeing that you have the Ice Phoenix bloodline and have cultivated the Ice Phoenix true body, this one will patiently explain it for you. The divine bird's gaze swept over the heaven-sealing profound ice mirror and sensed the Ice Phoenix aura inside, speaking in a majestic voice. This one comes from the Divine Phoenix ancient clan of the Myriad Worlds. I am in charge of the clan's disciples' trials. My name is Feng Wuyang. The Divine Phoenix ancient clan is not a force from a great world, but rather one of the 4 divine beast ancient clans of the Myriad Worlds. As expected, you are from the divine realm. Fairy Xuanxin was pleasantly surprised. Su Fong was extremely shocked. Seeing that this god did not have any ill intentions, he had placed the origin sacred mirror into the heaven and earth Tao Palace. If this god named Feng Wuyang had discovered the origin sacred mirror, his true body would not have hesitated to descend to the great world through the foamy door. As for Fairy Frozen Dream, she had completely turned into a block of wood, her eyes filled with disbelief. The voice from the divine bird's body continued. The ice door you opened is called the foamy door. It is a spatial passage for the disciples of the Divine Phoenix ancient clan to go out for trials. This profound ice mirror is a standard divine artifact of the Divine Phoenix ancient clan and is used as a token of identity. The members of the Divine Phoenix ancient clan will be sent to the great world for trials when they are young. Only by completing the trials and reaching a certain level of strength can they activate the profound ice mirror and open the Feng Yi door to return to the clan. I don't know which clan lost the profound ice mirror you activated, but I didn't expect you to be able to activate it. This one was alerted, so I sent my will to come and take a look. Fairy Xuanxin and Su Fong came to a sudden realization. Fairy Frozen Dream's body, condensed from water, violently heaved and trembled. Her eyes were filled with anger, humiliation, frustration, and extreme hatred. Feng Mingtian, so you've been lying to me all along. You used your clan's identity token to deceive me. You said that you could use the Xian Ice Mirror to open the secret realm left behind by the deities in the Great World. Then, you gave me the Xian Ice Mirror to trick me into trusting you and taking away my primordial Yin. With the help of my spirit body's vital Yin You broke through to the peak of the great world, but you went to the god realm alone, never to return. What's laughable is that I actually took your words seriously. For thousands of years, I used all kinds of methods to try and open the foamy door. In the end, I finally found a way. I didn't expect that it would actually be like this. Feng Ming Tian, if I see you one day, I will definitely devour your flesh and blood and torture your soul for eternity. Fairy Frozen Dream couldn't help but gnash her teeth, and a layer of flames ignited within her body. Divine light flashed in the divine bird's eyes and swept over Fairy Xuanxin's body. Its eyes revealed a look of praise. The will of the deity of the divine phoenix clan, called Feng Wuyang, continued. I didn't expect that a cultivator from the great world could actually cultivate the true body of the ice phoenix. Moreover, with the weak strength of someone who has just entered the Tao realm, you can activate the Xian ice mirror and open the foamy door. You have cultivated for less than 100,000 years, and your talent is truly outstanding. In the myriad worlds, you can be considered a genius. Xuanxin bowed and said, Many thanks for Lord's praise. Feng Wuyang continued, This seat asks you, are you willing to join the Divine Phoenix clan? As long as you agree, this seat can take you through the Feng Yi door and directly enter the Divine Phoenix clan. You possess the Ice Phoenix bloodline and are very rare in the Divine Phoenix clan. You will definitely be heavily nurtured by the clan. Join the Divine Phoenix clan? Fairy Xuanxin was startled. Shortly after, her heart began to beat wildly as she asked, I'm a cultivator from the great world and have just entered the Tao. Am I qualified to become a member of the Divine Phoenix clan? The Divine Phoenix clan in the myriad worlds are humans with the Divine Phoenix bloodline. You possess the Ice Phoenix essence blood, so you naturally have the qualifications to join the Divine Phoenix clan. As for your cultivation, as long as you enter the myriad worlds and join the Divine Phoenix clan, you will soon reach the level of a deity. There is no need to worry about this. Fairy Xuanxin looked at Su Feng and revealed a hesitant expression. She then pleaded to the divine bird, Lord, my Tao companion's talent is extraordinary and is the #1 genius of the great world. Can he join the Divine Phoenix clan with me? Tao companion? Feng Wuyang didn't even look at Su Feng and smiled in disdain. Feng Wuyang said, No matter how extraordinary the cultivators of the great world are, they're all ants. Why would I care about them? I see that you possess the Ice Phoenix bloodline and will have great achievements in the future. It would be a pity to leave you in the great world, so I decided to take you to the myriad worlds. Why would I bring an ant with me? Xian Xian Fairy was a little hesitant. Her eyes were filled with reluctance. Feng Wuyang said in displeasure, Due to the changes in the heavens and earth, entering the myriad realms through the Feng Yi door will consume a large amount of this seat's divine power. This seat does not have much time. I will give you another 10 breaths of time to consider. If you are still unable to make a decision, this seat will immediately return to the myriad realms and the Feng Yi door will close once again. Xuanxin, Su Feng flew over. Since you have this opportunity, you must grasp it tightly. Isn't this your dream? Go to the myriad worlds first. It won't be long before I go to the myriad worlds to find you. Go to the myriad worlds? Feng Wuyang sneered in disdain. If you want to enter the myriad worlds, you must go to the end of the great world. Only then can you enter the God realm. However, due to the changes in the world, spiritual energy has been suppressed. The difficulty of entering the end of the world has increased by more than 10 times. Even ordinary gods find it difficult to enter and exit the ascension pool, let alone you. Su Feng smiled coldly at the god's ridicule, but did not refute it. Fairy Xuanxin said proudly, My lord, my Tao companion is not an ordinary cultivator. He can do things that gods cannot. The divine bird sneered in disdain and did not speak again. Fairy Xuanxin no longer hesitated. My lord, I agree to follow you to the God realm. That's good. Fairy Xuanxin looked at Su Feng, her eyes filled with reluctance and tenderness. She said softly, Su Feng, I will go first and wait for you in the myriad worlds. Although Su Feng was very reluctant, he was also very happy for Xuanxin's opportunity. He said, Go. I will take care of Senior Xianing Tian for you. When you go to the God Realm, you must also take care of yourself. Let's go. As soon as Feng Weiyang's voice fell, a Xianguang landed on the heaven-sealing profound ice mirror. Then, a protective godly aura was released from the profound ice mirror and wrapped around Fairy Xuanxin. My lord, please wait a moment. I have some Dao artifacts from the Great World. They are useless after I go to the myriad worlds. Please allow me to give them to my Dao companion. Fairy Xuanxin shot out a cold Xinguang and released the profound Valley Origin Pearl and the Black Hawk Demon Emperor. They swept towards Su Fang. Xuanxin left the cauldron of lightning punishment and the lightning punishment clone in the Dao artifact's internal world in the depths of her body. With Su Fang's clone by her side, Fairy Xuanxin would feel at ease. Who knew how many tens of thousands of years it would be before the two of them parted this time? Furthermore, Xian Xian Fairy was going to the celestial world alone. With Su Fang's clone by her side, she wouldn't feel lonely. And this clone that mainly cultivated the lightning attribute true body needed the cauldron of lightning punishment to cultivate. Therefore, Fairy Xuanxin also left the cauldron of lightning punishment behind. Fairy Xuanxin was protected by the godly aura as she flew towards the foamy door. Just as she was about to disappear in the blinding white light, she suddenly turned around and looked at Su Fang reluctantly. Tears flickered in her eyes as she whispered something to Su Fangda. However, her voice could no longer be heard. Su Fang could tell from the shape of Fairy Xuanxin's mouth what she wanted to say. I will wait for you. These three simple and ordinary words caused Su Fang's heart to surge with emotions. After Fairy Xuanxin disappeared from the Feng Yi door, Su Fang felt as if an extremely important thing in his destiny had suddenly disappeared. His heart ached. Looking towards the depths of the Feng Yi door, Su Fang's eyes flashed with confidence and determination. Xuanxin, just you wait. I will definitely go to the God Realm. The Feng Yi gates slowly closed. Right at this moment, Fairy Frozen Dream suddenly shouted, Wait! Feng Weiyang's majestic voice came from the divine bird. What do you want to say? Fairy Frozen Dream said, Sir, please take me with you to the God Realm. Feng Weiyang said indifferently, Take you with me? Why? Fairy Frozen Dream gnashed her teeth and said, Millions of years ago, your Divine Phoenix clan's disciple Feng Ming Tian, who is also the owner of the profound ice mirror, used sweet words to coax me and borrow my spirit body's primordial yin to return to the God Realm. I want to go to the Divine Phoenix clan in the God Realm to find Feng Ming Tian and demand an explanation from him. Feng Ming Tian failed to complete his trial mission and gave the profound ice mirror to an outsider. This is a great crime. When this one returns to the clan, this one will definitely investigate clearly. Were you? You are just an incomplete water spirit body. The Divine Phoenix clan's clansman taking a liking to you is your supreme honor. You actually want to demand an explanation? Scram! Feng Weiyang coldly shouted and a burst of divine might erupted, sending Fairy Frozen Dream flying and shattering her body once again. Although Fairy Frozen Dream could be considered a peak expert of the God Realm, in the eyes of the gods of the God Realm, she was no different from an immortal looking at a mortal. Why would they care about her? The Feng Yi gate closed with a bang, and the divine bird flew back to the ice gate, once again transforming into a divine bird diagram made of divine runes. Feng Ming Tian, Divine Phoenix Clan. Ha ha ha! Fairy Frozen Dream reformed her body. After receiving such a heavy blow, she seemed to have lost her mind. She chanted Feng Ming Tian and the Divine Phoenix Clan's name one moment and laughed crazily the next. Seeing your infatuation, Xian Xen didn't suffer any harm in the end and instead obtained a great opportunity. I'll let you go this time. Su Fang looked at the crazy Fairy Frozen Dream and felt pity for her, but also hatred for her. Just as Su Fang was about to leave, out of the corner of his eye, he suddenly caught sight of the pool not far from the Feng Yi gate. He saw the lotus flower in the center of the pool, as well as the flame burning in the center of the lotus flower. What is that? Su Fang revealed a spirited gaze. At this time, Fairy Frozen Dream suddenly shouted, Su Fang, this one will make a deal with you. equals underscore our download address. Mobile reading, bibliographic review. Chapter 1656. You want to make a deal with me? Su Fong was flabbergasted by Elder Frozen Dream's words. Elder Frozen Dream's current appearance was not because she had lost her mind due to the shock. On the contrary, after a brief moment of madness, Fairy Frozen Dream's eyes became incomparably calm, and there was a trace of determination in them. Elder Frozen Dream very firmly said, "That's right. This lord wants to make a deal with you." Su Fong was extremely puzzled and asked, "What is the deal?" Elder Frozen Dream said word by word, "This lord wants you to promise me that when you ascend to the heavens, you will go to the Divine Phoenix clan and kill Feng Mingtian. No, don't let him die immediately. Make him suffer a fate worse than death." Elder Frozen Dream's voice contained a trace of coldness, causing Su Fong to involuntarily shiver. However, Su Fong could understand Elder Frozen Dream's current mood. The spirit race would not easily fall in love. Once they did, they would pay everything. Butterfly Demon Dai was like this, and Elder Frozen Dream was also like this. Dai's situation was slightly better. She had been sealed by the constellation of 9 heavens for 100,000 years before being coincidentally released by Su Fong. Moreover, Ao Tian Changhen had not truly abandoned her. If it were not for Ao Tian Changhen pleading for her, Dai would have already been suppressed by the constellation of 9 heavens, and Ao Tian Changhen would have been imprisoned in the proud sky peak for 100,000 years. Compared to Dai, Elder Frozen Dream's situation could be said to be miserable. She had been deceived by the trial disciple of the Divine Phoenix clan, Feng Mingtian, and had lost the most precious primordial Yin of the Spirit clan. She had even foolishly thought of the Fengyi sect as her hope. She had spent thousands of years trying her best to open the door to the Tao of the deity that did not exist. After being deceived like this, one could imagine how deep Elder Frozen Dream's hatred for Feng Mingtian was. Su Fong said, "Such a deep enmity, why don't you personally avenge it?" Old Lady Frozen Dream coldly said, "If I could ascend to the God realm, why would I try every possible means to obtain the inheritance of a deity? I was deceived by Feng Mingtian and lost my spirit body primordial Yin. This also means that I have completely lost the possibility of ascending to the God realm. Furthermore, I am not far from the end of my life. How can you be so sure that I will ascend to the God realm? If no one in the great world can ascend to the God realm, then that's fine. If there is a cultivator who can walk out from world's end, that person must be you." Su Fong smiled coldly. "You think quite highly of me, but even if I can ascend to the God realm, the heavens are so big. With my strength, how can I suppress a god from the ancient Divine Phoenix clan? You have great luck. You ascended to the immortal world from a lesser world. In just 2,000 years, you were able to grow from an ascended cultivator to a peak expert in the great world. Naturally, you can also quickly rise in the God realm. As long as you have enough time, you will definitely have the strength to suppress Feng Mingtian." Su Fong said, "Even if what you said is true, you schemed against my Tao companion. You are so deranged. It's already good that I didn't suppress you. Why should I help you? This is the deal I'll make with you. I'll give you something you won't be able to refuse. Is that so? Then I am looking forward to it." Su Fong smiled embarrassedly, not taking it to heart. God-class energy arts, divine abilities, and even God items couldn't move Su Fong's heart. The top spirit items and resources of the great world weren't very useful to him. Naturally, he wouldn't be tempted by Immortal Frozen Dream's offer. All of a sudden, Immortal Frozen Dream made a grabbing motion in the direction of the pond, not far away. The flame-like heart on the lotus flower and the lotus flower below it flew out of the pond and into her palm. Su Fong used his great circle ability to sense the heart. He found that the flame-like heart was still beating nonstop. Moreover, the scattered flames contained an unparalleled fire-type, divine might, and an ancient aura of Yang. What surprised Su Fong even more was that the aura of the heart was exactly the same as Immortal Frozen Dreams. They came from the same source. It was clearly a part of Immortal Frozen Dream's body. A water-type spirit race actually had a flame-like heart. Su Fong had never heard of such a strange thing. The lotus flower supporting the heart was also a yang spirit item. It emitted a pure yang divine aura. It was actually a divine-level spirit item. I'm not what you see now. I am a water-type spirit item. Let me show you my true body. Immortal Frozen Dream's body suddenly shattered, turning into a 300-meter-wide lake. Blue waves rippled, and a layer of spirit mist floated on the surface of the lake. Hua, a splash of water rose from the lake and quickly condensed into a humanoid form of Immortal Frozen Dream. A lake? A lake can actually turn into a spirit body. Su Fong opened his mouth wide in shock, unable to close it for a long time. This scene was completely beyond his understanding. It was simply too inconceivable. At the beginning of the great world, divine rain fell from the heavens and formed a lake. Moreover, there was a volcano in the lake. Thus, I have the origins of the great world of water and fire. After countless years of evolution, I gained consciousness and became a spirit body of water and fire. After tens of millions of years of cultivation, I was able to transform into a human form. From then on, I began to cultivate and became a cultivator. Finally, I entered the Tao and became a Tao realm expert. My life coexists with the great world. My body was originally perfect and flawless. However, I met Feng Mingtian, and from then on, my fate changed completely. At this point, Frozen Dream's eyes flashed with a cold light. Feng Mingtian possessed a peerless talent that reigned supreme in the great world. No one could compare to him. Even the current you is inferior. After a chance encounter, he began to crazily pursue me and even gave me the profound ice mirror. He said that if I used the mirror to open the Feng Yi door, I would be able to obtain the inheritance of the great expert of the God realm. At that time, my strength was already half a step into the God realm. However, my wisdom was no different from a young girl's first awakening of love. Very quickly, I fell into the river of love and was unable to extricate myself. The first time I had intercourse with Feng Mingtian, I gave my spirit body's primordialine to him. At that time, although I knew that my vitality would be greatly damaged, and not only would I lose my near-eternal life, but my cultivation would also fall. However, I still gave my everything to him without any regrets. After obtaining my primordialine, Feng Mingtian broke through the limits of the great world and reached the God realm. He swore that he would definitely bring me along to ascend to the God realm, and I firmly believe in his words without a doubt. Once, he left me, saying that he would help me find a spirit item that could help me recover. Who would have thought that he would never return and there would be no news of him? As for me, I foolishly waited and waited. I waited for more than 1,000,000 years before deciding to look for him. After searching the great world, I couldn't find any trace of Feng Mingtian. In the end, I inadvertently learned from the mouths of other cultivators that he had already gone to the God realm. As for the matter between him and me, he took it as a man's affair and flaunted it in front of other cultivators. Furthermore, he even described me as a wanton and dissolute spirit body. Almost everyone in the great world knew about this, but I was the only one who was kept in the dark. After suffering such a heavy injury, my vitality was once again greatly damaged, and I became old overnight. Even my body underwent a transformation. My ice and fire bodies were separated. Half of my fire body was sealed here by me, and the other half of my water body also transformed into ice. From then on, the original me had already died, and the great world had an additional Immortal Frozen Dream. Immortal Frozen Dream slowly said, recounting the past events between her and Feng Mingtian in one breath. Was shameless Feng Mingtian? Such a despicable and shameless person really deserves to be killed. Su Feng's eyes exuded coldness, and the hatred he had for Immortal Frozen Dream faded a lot. After encountering such a thing, Immortal Frozen Dream's character was naturally distorted. It was no wonder that she hated men so much. After a while, Immortal Frozen Dream calmed down. Immortal Frozen Dream returned to her previous appearance and indifferently said, "I'm not telling you so much because I want to tell you a story. The reason why I said this Lord's true body is because the thing this Lord wants to trade with you is this Lord's body. Ah! Su Fong was startled and stunned. Not to mention that Su Fong already had Xuanxin in his heart. Just thinking about Immortal Frozen Dream's pale appearance made Su Fong's whole body exude a chill. Using her body as a bargaining chip, this Immortal Frozen Dream's head was really broken. Immortal Frozen Dream saw through Su Fong's thoughts and immediately became angry. She coldly shouted, "Brat, what nonsense are you thinking? How could this Lord be as unbearable as you think and use my innocence to trade with you?" Su Fong was puzzled and asked, "Then what do you mean?" Immortal Frozen Dream said, "From you and Xuanxin, this Lord can easily see that not only is your body at the Great Circle Realm, but also contains an astonishing amount of yang qi. It's definitely not something you were born with. Even those cultivators with pure yang bodies and Big Goblin wouldn't have such a high level of yang qi. This Lord can conclude that you're cultivating a divine yang cultivation method." Su Fong was secretly startled. This Immortal Frozen Dream was worthy of being a spirit that existed with the outside world. Moreover, she had once reached the height of a demigod. Her eyesight was unexpectedly sharp. Immortal Frozen Dream faintly said, "You don't need to panic. Although your yang qi is of great benefit to the Big Goblin, demon race, resurrected experts, and even a spirit like this Lord's heart is already like dead ashes. How could I have any ideas about you?" Su Fong gave an embarrassed smile. "You cultivate a divine yang cultivation method, so you must need a divine yang spirit object. As for me, I am a heaven and earth spirit creature that is a combination of water and fire. Half of the fire element in my body is a rare yang spirit creature, not only in the great world, but even in the myriad worlds. It is exactly what you need for your cultivation." Immortal Frozen Dream's words caused Su Fong's heart to palpitate. Looking at that flame-like heart, his gaze became scorching hot. Novels and app equals _ our download address. Mobile reading, bibliography.